Well, we're out here in the middle here at Headingley for this vital T20 blast encounter between the Vikings and Durham. Alongside me, the Vikings skipper Shan Masood. You've just conducted the toss, Shan. What is the news?
We've lost the toss and we're going to be fielding first.
Overhead conditions at Headingley would suggest it's good for bowling first. Is that what you would have done?
We would have batted first. I think we need someone else to go and do the coin toss now. I've lost too many this season, but yeah, I mean, it's a T20 game. You don't expect the pitch to change much, but we thought our strength initially would have been batting first, but we've done a decent job while chasing, and we'll hopefully try to do that as well today.
What's the team news going into tonight's encounter?
There's just one change. Matty Reva steps out and Jafar Chauhan comes back in.
How much does that strengthen your hand in the bowling department?
Look, we're trying to play according to the conditions. We feel like, and us as a side, I feel we've been spin heavy since the start of the tournament, and we feel Jafar coming back in gives us that balance into the bowling attack.
And just finally, this is the business end of the group stage now. 4 games to go. It's very tight in that table. What is the mindset going into tonight's clash?
For us, it's a knockout day every time, so we just have to take it one day at a time, one step at a time, one game at a time, and just keep playing every game as a knockout game, and hopefully if we start off well today, it can lead us into a good momentum going into the next 3 games.
Okay, well, thanks for your time. Go well tonight. Shan Masood, the Vikings captain, where the news from the middle is that Durham have won the toss. They will bat first.
Good evening, Pope. How are we?
beginning with the visitors Durham and skipper Alex Lees, Baz Zaleda, Colin Ackerman, keeper Ollie Robinson, Graham Clark, Ashton Turner, Michael Jones, Ben Guashus, Ben Rain, Callum Parkinson and Nathan Sota. And now, it's not off. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the starting 11s for today's Vitality Blast clash between Yorkshire Vikings and Durham. Beginning with the visitors Durham and skipper Alex Lees, Baz Zaleda, Colin Ackerman, keeper Ollie Robinson, Graham Clark, Ashton Turner, Michael Jones, Ben Guashus, Ben Rain, Callum Parkinson and Nathan Sota. And now, your Yorkshire Vikings starting 11. Beginning with number 9, Adam Lyth. 29, Danny Milan. The skipper, number 94, Shah Masood. Number 18, George Hill. 29, James Wharton. Number 2, Donovan Ferreira. Returning to the side, number 5, Jaffa Johan. Number 44, Jordan Thompson. Number 47, Don Bess. 26, Ben Cliff. And number 11, Dan Moriarty. We are just moments away from the teams coming out. So Headingley, are you ready?
Welcome our guard teams for this fixture from Castleford Airedale Academy and St Anthony's Catholic Primary School. We are minutes away from blast off, but before we do so, I'd like you to welcome the one, the only, Vinny the Viking!
Good evening, welcome along from Headingley for the latest Vitality T20 Blast match for the Yorkshire Vikings, this time taking on near neighbours Durham, a match which sees Durham having won the toss and decided to bat first on what is a used pitch, in fact used for the last Yorkshire home match in this competition. You would have expected the side winning the toss to bat first, although that was like a road that day, so it may still hold up pretty well for the chasing side, who will be the Vikings. Shan Masood has been out there and interviewed by Richard Graves on the club PA, and said one change to his team that was beaten at Chesterfield against Derbyshire on Sunday, and that is Matthew Revis misses out this time, and Jaffa Chauhan, who's been out with a broken thumb, is back in. So they're back to having Dominic Bess, Dan Moriarty and Jaffa Chauhan as 3 frontline spinners here. It's a ploy that's worked well for him in a few matches this season. We'll see how it goes this evening. So it is Adam Lyth, David Milan, Shan Masood, George Hill, James Wharton, Donovan Ferreira, who's hit form of course recently, Jaffa Chauhan, Jordan Thompson, Dominic Bess, Ben Cliff, who made that appearance at Chesterfield over the weekend, and Dan Moriarty. And for Durham, the visitors 11, of course they won the reverse fixture, a game that Yorkshire felt that they should have won, and I think I'd agree with them as well, up at Chesterfield Street a few weeks ago. Graham Clark, Alex Lees of course back on his former home territory, skippers the side. That talented keeper batter Ollie Robinson is also in. Colin Ackerman, Basta Leda, Ashton Turner, Michael Jones, Ben Dorcius, Ben Rain, Callum Parkinson and Nathan Souter, which is a pretty useful lineup. And Durham still with chances of qualification as well, just like Yorkshire, as far as the North Group quarter-finalists are concerned. They sit in 4th place in the table, so they're in pole, or one of those prime positions at this moment in time. Yorkshire 3 points behind them on 8, and Durham, as I say, with 10 matches played, have got 11 points, 5 behind the leaders, the Birmingham Bears. So there was a bit of difference of opinion last week between coach and captain in terms of how many games will be needed to qualify, how many wins will be needed to qualify. Yorkshire 4 matches left, including this one tonight. Otis Gibson said to me in his post-match interview at Derbyshire that he thought 3 might be enough, and then Shan Masood was in the press saying that he thought they probably need to win all 4, which is a pretty tall order. 3 matches in the next 4 days. Lancashire away tomorrow, Worcestershire away on Sunday afternoon, and then they finish up here against Nottinghamshire next week. We'll see how all of that pans out. Just to mention, tonight's umpires are Neil Mallender and Richard Kettleborough, and match referee is James Whittaker, and alongside me is Graham Orange. Johnny Tallers will hopefully joining us as well for the middle overs in both innings, which will be a great little boost for our coverage. Graham, good evening.
Good evening, JD. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, a vital match in prospect here, because of course it depends on other results, but I think we both believe that Yorkshire need to win their remaining 4 games. That's a hard ask in this type of cricket to qualify from the North Group. The quarterfinals take place the first week in September, but we're all set to start now this evening.
Yep, Ben Cliff going to open the bowling from the Kirkstall Lane end, from which we're commentating. High up here on the 4th floor. It's an overcast evening. The floodlights are on from the start, and Graham Clark on strike then. Right-handed drives the first ball into the offside for Shan Masood to field, and they pick up a single. Well, those who are watching, you can see how the respective sides are kitted out. Those who are not, Yorkshire in their usual, for this season at least, predominantly Cambridge blue with bits of gold and Oxford blue trim. Alex Lees on strike is wearing a black and gold half top. Imagine a sort of Blackburn Rovers style football shirt with black trousers and gold or yellow pads. Depends on which end you're looking at. Graham Clark's look more gold than Alex Lees. Those are the things that are strapped around his legs. Here's Cliff in, and Lees over the top of a short wide ball and runs it down to 3rd man to get off the mark. 2 without loss after 2.
Yeah, and regarding Graham Clark, he's the leading run scorer this season for Durham. 282 runs, make that 283 now, because both Clark and Lees are 1 not out, and rather sedate start. But it's good to see young Ben Cliff in the Yorkshire attack, and he's now going to bowl to Clark, Graham Clark. Oh, he was, but there's something going on. The umpire has stopped him in his run-up and called dead ball.
Yeah, Alex Lees by his standards, not his best performance against Yorkshire up at Chester Street. 6 off 10 deliveries, but 49 off 35 for Graham Clark up there. And barring that loss of Alex Lees, they got off to a good start. Well, it was just a good effort by them. 170 for 6, and managed to defend it. Cliff in, and that one nipping away on Graham Clark. Good delivery through to the gloves of Donovan Ferreira. And there's no run. Yorkshire have gone with a slip in the early stages.
Yeah, there was not a great deal of foot movement there from Clark. He played and missed at Ben Cliff.
Bit of a breeze here. See the Ben Cliff shirt rippling. It's half hanging out at the back as he comes in, number 26 on it, and it's wide of off stump, and yeah, felt like it was going to get the solid treatment it has. I don't think he struck it completely cleanly, Graham Clark, but he's lofted it over James Wharton, and well, if he can't catch it at his height with an outstretched arm, then nobody will. Just lobbed over the top of him. He's gone for 4 through the covers. He'll probably play more convincing shots before the end of, well, tonight, or maybe even this over.
Yes, just going to say it wasn't very convincing, was it? But he's got 4 runs for it. The ball was pitched up. He went to drive, and he got his reward.
So 6 without loss. 2 balls to come in this opening over, and Cliff is in again. And that's straight and punched back down the pitch. There's a thought of a run. Alex Lees was setting off blind, but the ball went straight past him, which can sometimes be danger territory for the non-striking batter. Adam Lyth cleans up and no run.
Yes, again, he didn't time that all that well. And just these first few deliveries, it just seems that the pitch seems a little slow.
In comes Cliff again, up there to drive. An invitation accepted by Clark, but he's missed out. And in the end, that's a pretty tidy first over, just the 1 boundary from it. Clark on 5, Lees on 1, and Ben Cliff has gone for 6, won a ball off his first over.
Yeah, pretty good first over, really. Even the 4 of that one of the deliveries there was not very convincing from Graham Clark. Yeah, so from the hour stand end, it's going to be the off spin of Don Bess. Is bowling to the left-handed Alex Lee, so he's bowling round the wicket with the off spinners. How much turn he'll get, or if he's trying to turn it, I don't know. But this could be a fascinating contest now.
So we've got a deep backward square leg and a cow corner. Everybody else, of course, up inside the circle joined the power play, and it was bowling to the left-handed Lees, who flicked it into the leg side, where it was fielded by Cliff. And they get a single right-hander on strike, means that Milan comes across from extra cover to fill the same position on the right-hand side. The offside, as we look at it, and in comes Bess over the wicket. That's turned across towards cow corner. James Wharton's having to really put pedal to the metal to get across there. I think he thought it was travelling more slowly at first than it was, and had to recheck his run. He's done the job though and kept him to 2.
Yeah, the 2 fielders outside the circle are both on the onside, as you mentioned, cow corner and long on.
As he comes in again, that's punched straight back at him by Graham Clark, and there is no run. Halfway through the second, 9 without loss. Tidy enough start, but there's going to be 4 more here. A ball that was lofted square on the offside. There was a dive at point for it by Jordan Thompson, who took an absolutely sensational catch recently down at Chesterfield. Couldn't reel that one in though. It's gone backward a point for 4.
Yeah, it's again not a convincing shot, but it's gone for 4. And Graham Clark on the attack. He's having a good season for Durham in this competition.
Bess in again, and that is hit in the air, but perfectly safe because the field is set back at mid-wicket where James Wharton fields. Done well there, James Wharton. Covered plenty of ground, Graham, and he's managed to keep him to 1.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But he is a good fielder, isn't he?
Yeah, one of those nicknames he told us about when he came up last year, knuckle dragger, on account of his long arms, apparently, which is pretty good when you're in the field and you're trying to get down to ball. Good delivery here by Bess. He's got him. He's got his man. And Ferreira celebrates by throwing the ball up in the air. And he's been stumped. So Ferreira in on the act with the gloves on this time. It was hard to detect from right behind what exactly had gone on, whether it was a nick. But yeah, you can just about see that the bails have been removed. And so Alex Lees, that is another cheap night out for him against Yorkshire this season. 2 of 3 deliveries, and it's 14 for 1.
Yeah, slick piece of work by Ferreira. We're looking at the replay now. Yeah, he's dragged his foot. Yeah, he's dragged his foot out and stumped. So good piece of bowling, backed up by his wicket keeper, and the dangerous Alex Lees is out for 2.
Yeah, very good piece of bowling by Best. That was the final ball of the second over. So 14-run first wicket partnership between that pair, and 14 for 1 after 2.
Yes, Ollie Robinson coming in now to partner Graham Clark, but it's Graham Clark who's facing this ball from Ben Cliff.
Who's in it wide of off stump. Clark can't quite get there to drive it as he probably would have liked. Good length from Cliff. No run.
Yeah, Yorkshire would like to get rid of Clark fairly quickly, you'd have thought. As you rightly said, he scored 49 in the corresponding fixture at Durham back in last month. A match-winning innings, as it turned out, really.
Here's Cliff again, wide off stump on it slightly, and Clark tries to make a bit more room of it and turns it away square on the offside, but Walton is on hand to do the fielding, and another dot, and every one of those as this game goes on will be valuable.
Absolutely precious dot balls in this particular format.
Yorkshire's home form year on year has tended to be better than its away form. And that doesn't matter who's been playing, just seems to work out that way. Looks like another pretty good flat deck. So this one's driven to the extra cover region, and Milan does the fielding.
But over the years, you know, Yorkshire against Durham in this competition, we've had some really good games, JD, haven't we?
Yeah, and that's good to see. Look at that, away to the right. Jordan Thompson has been called over by some speckies. I know that after the match, the players will come out and sign autographs, but somebody's clearly made a play for that, and he's nipped across the boundary rope and put his moniker on something for the supporters while getting ready for this delivery, which, as it turns out, he's not needed for because it's the other side of the track, and it's square driven nicely by Graham Clark, and he'll pick up 4 runs. Good shot, and probably, to be fair, Ben Cliff has bowled well so far, but it probably got what it deserved, Graham.
Yes, there's too much width on that particular delivery, and Clark's too good a batsman not to take advantage of that. So, yep, 4 runs.
So the young man from Halifax turns, makes his way in again, and this time it's been dragged away to the leg side. Oof, direct hit would have been very interesting. They took on the field for the single, and it was George Hill who got the throw away, and he can't have been too far off, tickling the furniture there. 1 run. Yeah,
it wasn't the best of shots. It was across the line, and they're going to run for it, but he was almost run out. But it's now Ollie Robinson facing Cliff now, and this will be the first delivery he'll receive in this match.
Robinson waits then. In comes Cliff, and that's pushed into the onside where Lyth does the fielding. Ollie Robinson playing his 11th match in the comp this year, and his 10th innings. He's scored just 189 runs. Sorry, 118 runs from 89 balls. Highest of 41, averaging 16.85. I reckon he's a better player than those figures are suggesting, Graham.
I would think so, yes. Yeah, very good player. But 19 for 1 after 3 overs. So Yorkshire not doing too badly. And it's going to be best to continue from the Howard stand end. And this time bowling to Graham Clark, who's on 17. So he's got 17 of the 19 runs that Durham have accrued so far.
Yeah, we know, of course, traditionally it doesn't turn big here at Headingley, and spin bowling's been a challenge for decades, but having 3 of them in the side is just taking the pace off the ball, and it's that angle as much as anything that maybe proves to be more of a challenge to the respective away teams that visit, as Clark turns one into the leg side for a single first ball of the over.
Yeah, in fact it's Moriarty bowling, isn't it? Left arm.
Yeah. Rearrange my scorecard after you told me that, because I didn't look up myself. I just trusted your judgment there.
I'll never do that.
Moriarty then, left arm around the wicket, and that's a lovely shot. 4 runs back at a point. Robinson just opening the face and using the bit of width that Moriarty offered him.
Yeah, that's a good shot. He found the gap there, and there's no one out there in these power play overs, the first 6 overs, of course.
So Moriarty in again. Robinson waits, and now he's going to go aerial, but he's going to be caught here. Yep, that's the end of Ollie Robinson. A disappointment for Durham and for Ollie, and he's been caught at mid-on with the simplest of catches. I think it's Don Bess who's positioned there by the looks of that style of running. He was front on. It was indeed Don Bess, yep. And he won't get many easier catches than that in the rest of his career. 24 for 2 then, halfway through the 4th.
Yeah, he didn't get hold of it at all, did he? I mean, it's ironic, is that's cricket for you, when he's just hit a lovely 4 back of the square on the offside, and he just plinks one to mid-on the very next ball. As I said before this evening, this pitch seems to be a little slow, and I think that timing on this pitch doesn't look to be too easy. Yes, if the bowler pitch is short, you're able to put it away, but on the front foot, I think it's not too easy really in terms of being able to time it. But they've now got Colin Ackerman in with Graham Clark, and of course it's Ackerman facing Moriarty.
Yeah, Ackerman, of course, formerly of Leicestershire, who's played just 4 times in the competition this year, scored 97 runs at 24.25, strike rate just over 115. And Moriarty to come in and bowl round the wicket to him. He's right-handed, of course. He flicks that one backward of square leg, and then comes Lythe to do the fielding and keep them to 1.
Yeah. So Graham Clark will now be on strike.
In comes Moriarty then. That's just hit in the air by Clark towards Bess, who'd been dropped back out too long on. They pick up 1, and Bess coming back up by the looks of things inside the circle at mid-on.
Yeah, now can he finish the over now? 1 ball left.
And he comes, and Ackerman just plays that one back down the pitch. So yes is the answer to that question. 1 for 7 off 1 over for Moriarty. 26 for 2 after 4.
Yeah, so good start by Yorkshire here, having got rid of both Lees and Robinson, 2 very good batters, and they'll be hoping to press on now and make inroads into this Durham lineup.
So Ben Cliff, he's going to continue. He's done a useful job so far. He's going to be bowling to Graham Clark here, who's tried to have a go at him a few times. Be interesting if he does manage to get hold of anything. See what the result is. He's on 19. There you go again. He's had a swish at another one around about 4th stump and missed.
Yeah, I think he's been a little bit lucky. That's about the 3rd or 4th time he's played and missed to Cliff. And little foot movement there.
Had 2 50s in the comp this year, Graham Clark, plus that 49 up at Chester Street against Yorkshire at the Riverside. Cliff turns and makes his way in once again, and that is punched out into the offside. James Wharton will get round the cover boundary to do the fielding, and they'll come back for 2. Richard Kettleborough standing at this Kirkstall Lane end of the ground. Neil Mallender, often seen in more of a baseball cap, is the man at square leg.
Known as the Ghost, isn't he?
The Ghost, yeah. Here's Cliff. Up there to drive. Invitation accepted again, and another wicket. Ben Cliff strikes. Shan Masood takes a very easy catch once again at mid-off. Well, you are starting to look at this, and you're either saying Yorkshire are just bowling superbly at this moment in time with very good length deliveries, and he invited him with that ball to get stuck into it, didn't he, Ben Cliff? But he's picked the wrong ball to do that, or is it, as you're suggesting, a little bit on the slow side and just sticking in the pitch?
I think it probably is, but Yorkshire won't really care about that. They've got rid of the dangerous Graham Clark. They'll be very pleased to see the back of him, but a totally mistimed off drive. I mean, he nearly fell in that over anyway when he played and missed. He could have been caught behind. He didn't get a touch, but he mistimed his drive there, and a very easy catch to Masood. So 28 for 3, Durham, and in a little bit of a problem here. Baz de Leyde comes out now. He's a right-hander. He's taking guard from Richard Kettleborough, and we're halfway through this over by Ben Cliff.
Yeah, unhelpfully, the Durham tops have got white numbers on half, on black on half the back, and white numbers on yellow or gold on the other half. And it's the latter that you can't make out particularly well, but he's got 27 on his back, and Ackerman has 48. There's de Leyde on strike, and that is turned into the leg side by Cliff to square leg, where Jordan Thompson is on hand to do the fielding, and Baz de Leyde is off the mark. First ball, dangerous player if he gets going. He made 28 from 18 in the reverse fixture. Just showed his capabilities. We have a visitor. As Cliff turns at the end of his run. And he comes then. He bowls it now. Ackerman pushing down the ground. Adam Lyth does the fielding at mid-on, no run. Interesting the way just one or two of these are being played now. There's a feeling that clearly they've lost 3 in the power play. A little bit tentative, maybe not trusting in the pitch.
Anything pitched up, absolutely, yeah. And
which is unusual for Headingley.
Yeah, it is. But Ben Cliff has been bowling well, and he's pitching the ball up.
Here's Cliff. Oh, that's a good shot.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of width, but you wouldn't really criticise it too strongly on that front. But he used his feet. He came down, and he's hammered that one away through the covers for 4. End of the over, 5 gone, 33 for 3.
Yeah, very good shot. And this is a good contest now. I mean, Durham are in a little bit of trouble here with 3 wickets down, but that was a very good boundary off the very last ball.
And congrats, just coming up on the board here. I'm going to mention it on here as well. Howard and Leslie Ray, two stalwart Yorkshire fans and members of the Yorkshire Cricket Supporters Association, married for 55 years today. Can you imagine?
No.
Congratulations to the pair of you, Howard and Leslie, and everybody else whose birthday it is. It's just been flashed up on the board as Moriarty is going to continue to finish the power play off from the Howard stand end. First ball turned into the leg side by de Leyde, and he'll pick up a single, 34 for 3.
Yeah, so 2 relatively new batsmen at the crease, and Yorkshire want to keep up this pressure.
Moriarty in again. Ackerman just happy to lay the bat on that, knock it up to Don Bess at mid-on for 1. Are you sure it's Moriarty bowling this time?
Yeah, yeah. I was just testing. Don't worry.
Just testing it.
Yeah.
De Leyde batting for just the 4th time in the competition. He's made 53 before he went out there tonight. At 26 and a half, another dot ball. Just pushed back to Moriarty, who's turning and coming in past Neil Mallender once again, and once more. Just being very tentative at the moment, Bastilleida in the early stages. Of course, they can't afford to lose any more quickies at this moment in time.
No, and just 2 balls left of the power play as well.
And it also feels like Dan Moriarty's taking even more pace off the ball than you'd normally see somehow. Another one that's spooned up in the air out towards Jordan Thompson inside the ring. At point, drops just short of him, fortunately for Bastilleida. Spared his blushes. Moriarty, and again hit straight back at the bowler, who parries the first attempt and can't reel in a second attempt at a grab. So Deleda could have gone cheaply as well, but that opportunity gone. End of the power play, 35 for 3.
Yeah, another ball that's pitched up, and they're finding it difficult to drive. It's as if it's, you know, the timing's not there. If it's sticking a little bit in the pitch.
So let's have a quick change in the comm box. Thanks for now, Graham. Graham back with us for the back end of the innings, and we'll bring in the man himself, Johnny Tattersall, who I'm sure would much rather be up here than he would out there. No. We joke. He'd much rather be out there than up here, but unfortunately not out there in the 11 tonight, JT, but of course you did the game with me up at Durham. Give him a wave, folks. Good evening. Yeah, he did that match with us up at Durham when, of course, we both felt that Yorkshire should have won the match but didn't manage to do so. Jordan Thompson coming in from the Kirkstall Lane end for the first time this evening. That's turned into the leg side by Ackerman for a single. But A, how are you? And B, what are your thoughts on the power play?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you, Doige. And yeah, great start from the boys tonight. Yeah, just listening to you guys chatting there about the pitch, and I was just chatting to Adam Lythe in the dressing room. Obviously the same pitch as the game against Birmingham, I believe, and that was obviously one of the best tracks they've said we've had at Headingley in the T20s. But Adam said tonight it just felt a little bit tacky underfoot. So as you've seen, it's looked a little bit challenging for the batters. Ben Cliff's bowled exceptional 3 overs there with a bit of swing, and just looks like the spin's just holding in and getting a bit of turn.
Here's Jordan Thompson. Deleda drops that down by his feet. Tomo fancies a shot at goal. Not quite sure that he's going to be getting any calls from Gareth Southgate in the next couple of days, because that one missed by a fair bit. 37 for 3 with that single. Yeah, it just felt the way they've been really tentative, not having the confidence to go through with the shots, and those that have, of course, 2 of them have gone on the back of it.
Yeah, I think it's looked like they've tried to play the pitch as you'd expect the Headingley pitch, and probably how it does look out there. It probably does look a very good pitch, and it looks like they've tried to play that as if that's how it's going to play, and it's probably just not come onto the bat as well as it has done. And obviously Ben Cliff's bowled a terrific length and produced some wickets.
Thompson in, driven down the ground by Ackerman. Adam Lythe fields, they get 1. Is it something then, from your experiences here, now then Adam Lythe hits direct at the batter's end, the Howard Stand end of the ground, and they get an extra run as a result because that bounced off at an awkward angle. Nobody backing up where it went. Given your experiences here, you expect no change before the end of the night? Is it going to be just as challenging for the lads when they get out there?
Yeah, I suspect it probably will be. I guess the only thing you might think is whether it gets a little bit dewy later on with it being overcast, but I'm not sure that'll be the case.
Jordan Thompson in again. Ackerman drops this out towards point and picks up another single. So we could be in for a low-scoring classic then, JT.
Yeah, I think it's more just giving yourself that chance to get used to the pace of the pitch, and you might find that, if Ackerman keeps going here as he is, taking a few balls just to get in, you might start to get the pace of the pitch, and then you might just be able to put a little bit more pressure back onto the bowlers and get the run rate up that way and gain a bit of momentum. But obviously Yorkshire have got the momentum so far in these first 6.4 overs. They've done brilliantly well, and it's just about trying to keep the pressure on and not letting them get away with too many easy boundaries. Similar to up at the Riverside, it was low scoring in the boundaries, and it might be low scoring in the boundaries tonight. So I suspect perhaps the team that scores the most boundaries will probably come out on top in this game.
Here's Jordan Thompson. He's bowled him. He's got one through Bastilleida, and he has gone middle stump uprooted. What a beauty by Jordan Thompson. And Yorkshire have struck for a fourth time, and Durham in a bit of trouble here at 40 for 4.
Yeah, it's a great bit of bowling, obviously nice and straight, just brought third man up and pushed long on back, so obviously bowled to his plan beautifully there. I'm not sure if it was a little cutter on it, I'm not too sure, but...
Inside edge, I think, actually, looking at the replay.
Yeah, I wonder whether it was maybe just a little bit of a slow ball from Thompson, and it's probably one of the first we've seen tonight, if it is, just a little roll of the fingers. It looked like he got there a little bit early and then tried to play a shot and just caught the inside edge, and he's just played it onto middle stump. But again, brilliant from Yorkshire. Boys doing brilliantly out there, and obviously they're in a real solid position. It's obviously, we knew a good score, chatting to the lads the other night, they knew a good score was probably what Birmingham made, if not probably a couple more on the total. It was that good of a pitch, but it looks like tonight it might be difficult to judge what might be a good score, and if they can keep this pressure on and really give the batters a chance at not having to do too much work. And I think that's where we've maybe fallen short a little bit in this competition, just not really going for the kill when we've had the chance. So there's a great opportunity tonight.
Ashton Turner, right-handed, the new man out there, and he gets a full-length delivery, which is pushed back to Jordan. Crowd catch. He loves it, doesn't he, JT, the other JT? Which is the real JT?
I'm older, so I claim it.
Okay. Yeah, Tomo, the big show and all that. He just loves these nights, doesn't he? Get a bit of a crowd in, he'll perform for anybody. And he's top of the wicket-taking table again in T20 cricket this year for the county. That's the 17th just now.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, and he's obviously got better over the time he's been playing at the club, and obviously been lucky enough to go and play in franchise cricket, and obviously picked up a hell of a lot of experience and knowledge from that. And you know, he comes in with the tough overs at the back end. I think it's his best place for him to bowl personally, in the middle, and at the end for us his skills are that good and gives him that protection through the middle overs, and then obviously he can work through his variations at the end, and that's when he picks up a lot of his wickets, just with that deception. So he's obviously got off to a great start tonight.
And can Jaffa Chauhan do the same, because he's back in the side, and he can do. That's a great delivery first up. Beaten neck and crop and bowled, and Chauhan with his first delivery strikes. Every Yorkshire bowler used so far tonight has got a wicket against their name, and Durham in danger of being shot out for a really low total here. Ackerman bowled by Chauhan for 10, 40 for 5.
Yeah, it looks like it's just short of a length, and it looks like it's just skipped through. It's obviously not spun that much. It's gone quite tight into the back thigh of Ackerman there, and it's just clipped the leg stump. So I think he was probably expecting that, with the length, with the tackiness of the pitch that there has been so far, to just hold in the pitch and be set up to hit out to the mid-wicket boundary, and that's just slid through from Chauhan. You get obviously something different from Jaffa, with his variations and bowls the ball at different speeds. Obviously Dom and Dan, the two Ds, are very much over the top and can drive the ball into the surface, and Jaffa's a slightly different challenge. And you know, I think that shows the difficulties of this pitch. It just looks like it's been that tackiness, but we've seen some really good shots in the opening power play from the Durham batters through the covers, really leathering the ball out to the cover boundary, and when they've used the feet putting the pace onto the ball, well, that one looks like it's just shot through. So it's obviously a difficult pitch to play out here.
Yeah, 40 for 5. Ben Rain, left-handed, has gone out there at number 7, just the 8th over. I bet he's not been in too often at this stage of a contest. George Hill had been brought in at first slip for that delivery, but he's been sent once again with Ashton Turner, right-hander, back on strike. So, yeah, interesting contest so far. Really good crowding down at the Howard Stand end tonight. I can't remember seeing quite as many as that this season, even when Lancs were here the other week. Maybe not quite as many in the east or west sides, as Turner, tall figure of Ashton Turner, punches that one on its way up to Don Bess for a single.
Yeah, fantastic. This from Yorkshire, and this is what we know we're capable of as a team. Obviously, we're only coming up. We're not even a quarter of the way through this game yet, but when we get things right, we know we're capable of beating anybody in this league, and it's just that lack of consistency we've had, not just this year but through the years in this competition.
Yeah, Chauhan in. He's appealing for LBW against the left-handed Rain. He's hit the thigh pad off. Pad and Neil Mallender signals that they can have a leg bye for that. What is? I mean, you know, we talk about it. It must be just as frustrating for you as a player as it is for me sitting here commentating on the games when you see some of the performances are superb and you think, well, why can they not do this? You're not expecting it every game because nobody ever can produce that. But you're expecting to see it more often as Turner opens the face and runs it out to point. And Jordan Thompson will keep them to 1. Is it just things like, you know, you go on the pitch, you're all feeling in great nick, but then out there are challenges that things happen, sometimes happen really quickly, don't they, when you're out there? You don't have quite as much time to react as you'd like to. And sometimes maybe decisions about what's going to happen, you know, there's pressure on, isn't there? I don't know. I'm just trying to put up some suggestions as to what might be, as Ben Rain has hauled that one away through Cow Corner and will pick up 4 runs to complete the over.
Yeah, I think it's obviously a really nice shot there from Ben Rain. Just sat in and played it nicely over the top of the mid-wicket. It was close and picked the gap nicely for 1 bounce 4. Yeah, I think it's really difficult to put the finger on. I think it's probably been similar in the Championship this season from us. Just that lack of responsibility from individuals at key moments in the games. You know, and I can probably hold my hands up in that game down at Sussex when we were in a really good chance of winning that game. You know, there was obviously different phases of that game where we probably lost it over the 4 or 3 days that it turned out to be, but just taking that responsibility and really putting your hand up as an individual to go and win it for the team. And you know, that's the thing that we're doing here. And obviously our bowling, as Cliff is put in a really good performance there and shown us the way to pitch it up, and everybody's followed suit and knowing how to play on this. And I think it's just having that adaptability on different pitches. And obviously at Chesterfield on Sunday we obviously didn't adapt with the bat very well.
Here's Jordan Thompson bowling to Ashton Turner, who gets one top of the bounce and pushes into the offside, and they get through for 1.
I think that's probably just where we lack, if we're really honest, having that adaptability and being able to adapt to every surface that we play on. Obviously, you know, we like to play in a certain way, as we know you see how we play at the top of the order, and we like to play that all the time. And just sometimes, if we don't quite adapt quick enough to different pitches, it can cause a bit unstuck.
Yeah, Jordan Thompson round the wicket here to Rain and bowls him a bouncer, which he shies away from, through to Ferreira, dot ball. They'll count. Yeah, it's just it is so difficult when you're watching on all the time to put your finger on it, because some of the performances, you know, everything was set up, for example, for the win against the Bears here the other week, wasn't it? Everything was going hunky-dory. Donovan Ferreira had set things up, and when he got out, I can remember saying, don't start to celebrate yet, because this is going to be a challenge now, as Rain drops one into the offside and Milan fields. You know, Sunday was different again, and obviously Otis Gibson was quite outspoken with his criticism of the pitch when he spoke to me after the match on the record, and you can see that it felt to me as though it probably needed more time, maybe even up to another hour, and just play reduced overs match. I'm not quite sure how all that moisture, because it was absolutely hammering it down when I turned up there at 12 o'clock, and as Thompson is turned into the leg side for a single and nearly shies and throws the stumps down at the far end, the Howard Stand end, where the batter Ben Rain was. 1 run takes them to 50 for 5 after 8.4.
Yeah, I think he was gone there with a hit.
Yeah,
it was really nice fielding. Obviously Durham are obviously just trying to keep the scoreboard going, trying to get a few singles going and make sure they don't stop the rot with the scoreboard. But yeah, it's difficult to put your finger on. I mean, the game against Birmingham, obviously I was here watching, and you know, a lot of people will probably say, well, we should have got over the line with the bat, but I personally think we weren't good enough with the ball, the position that we had them in with, you know, 7 overs left. They shouldn't have got as many as they should have done, and we'd have knocked that off with probably 10 balls to spare.
Yep, Thompson in, and that's turned into the leg side by Turner. And Adam Lyth does the fielding from long on, 1 run. Yeah, I mean, Donovan Ferreira spoke to me after that match, because again, he played that cracking knock, but just couldn't quite manage to finish it off, and he criticised himself and said, look, I'm a finisher, and I didn't finish it. You know, I set things up to finish it, but I didn't actually finish it. Or to paraphrase. But he did also say, yeah, we'd probably let him get about 20 too many in the field.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's obviously going to say that because, like I say, we look at ourselves individually, we know we could have taken more responsibility as individuals to win matches this season.
Thompson in, it's a short length ball. Ben Rain tucks up the front knee, Adam Lyth style, but I think Adam Lyth might just play that shot a little better, and they get a single.
Yeah, and it's that modern day, I guess, of T20 playing. Like, you look at it, and you know, and Donovan's thinking, I'm sure he'll be thinking there, you know, I hit 2 boundaries in this over, the game's finished, and that's in the 19th over. So he's obviously backing himself, and that's the way the game's played. That he's backing himself. If he hits that ball for 6, everybody obviously watches it now. He gets back, he gets out, and we look in hindsight, well, he could have just taken a single and would have been close to winning that game. But if he hits that ball for 6, it's pretty much game over, and we're over the line, and that's all it takes. And that's just the fine margins of T20. And you know, we talk about trying to take the aggressive option as much as we can.
So there's Chauhan. Ooh, ball that seems to die on pitching, going past Ben Rain on the off stump, and there's no run. New Zealand, by the way, 63 for 3 in that women's T20 international that's taking place at Canterbury. That's in the 9th over. Not sure who won the toss down there, as Rain tries to get one away through the offside, and Shan Masood does the fielding.
Yeah, it just looks like it's really sticking in here with Jaffa. I'm sure he'd be bowling his wrong uns and going through his variations, and they're just not coming out of the pitch as well as the batters would want.
In he comes again, and nicely cut this time by Rain. James Wharton round like a gazelle and swoops to keep him to 1.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not sure I've seen a man run so quick on a cricket pitch. James Wharton is he's all arms and legs, but he doesn't half get to the ball quickly, and he did fantastically well on that occasion. The throw might have been a little bit off, but you know, he got to the ball so quickly that they couldn't afford to come back for a 2. And if the throw was good, then he'd have been out by half a pitch.
In comes Chauhan. Nicely cut this time by Turner, but there's a square sweeper in Jordan Thompson who'll keep him to 1. Yeah, James Wharton, I often talk about his nicknames from that day he came in last year, and we had a hilarious half hour with him. Head bobber and knuckle dragger.
Yeah.
Knuckle dragger's a great one actually, because when he does swoop to field, it feels like, doesn't it? It's like he's got shovels on the end of his hands and he's going to scoop things off the earth. But actually, Inspector Gadget is a bit like that, isn't it? Really, he just seems to find a lid from somewhere. Yeah,
absolutely.
So 54 for 5. Meanwhile, in the real world, and Ben Rain steps back and hammers that one down the ground to long off. And it's going to be fired back in for the concession of another one. So it's got to be this way really at the moment for Durham. They've got to sort of take this deep. I reckon they've probably got to hope they can have 4 or 5 good overs towards the end and try and set something up and make it very tricky again for the Vikings to chase.
Yeah, I think that's all they've got to try and do. It's obviously going to be very difficult being 5 wickets down. There's not much margin for error.
As this is pulled out towards wide long on, and fired back in from out there in the deep, and they get back for another 2. So we're halfway, and it's 57 for 5. Go on, have a guess. How many after 20?
Well, I mean, it's in the balance really. I mean, it could be depending on how the next 5 overs go, I suspect. You know, if Yorkshire get another wicket or 2, you know, it could be probably about 100, 110. But I think Durham would be hoping here, if they can tick away at maybe 8 and over for the next 5 overs here and not lose a wicket. Obviously, it's going to be challenging the way Yorkshire have been bowling. You know, that's going to take them close to that 100 mark, and then if they can, you know, if they can score at 10 and over, maybe 12s for the last 5 overs, you know, they never know. You might be able to scrape up to 140, 150, and you know, you might be in with a chance with that total. But again, Durham have got no margin for error here. If they get something wrong, then you know, it's going to be very tough.
Here's Moriarty. It's wide of off stump, and Rain pushes at it but misses. What's the answer to the question as to what Yorkshire would have done had they won the toss?
I believe that we were going to have a bat first.
Yep.
Yes.
You would have thought so. Generally speaking, on used pitches, it seems to be the way, doesn't it? Here, as Rain pulls one up in the air towards Will Luxton, who's out there fielding as a substitute by the looks of things at long on, 1 run.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, obviously Adam Lyde said it was a little bit tacky, but I don't think we were expecting it to play how it's played. I mean, I'm making a little bit of an assumption there. I'd have to obviously speak to captain and a couple of senior players and see what they were kind of expecting to happen. But I think they were obviously thinking, like you say, use pitch, get a few on the board, and hopefully a bit harder later on.
Yep, Moriarty in and bowling, and Masood, turns and feels that extra cover. Venomous throw, but doesn't quite hit the mark. And another single. So Turner on 8, Rain on 9. It is as tough going for Durham at the moment as the scoreboard would have you believe. 59 for 5, halfway through the 11th. But both sides have to bat on it, and that might well be a challenge for the Vikings as Rain this time tries to use his feet and get Moriarty maybe to do something different. It balloons up off the pads for a leg bye.
Yeah, it just looks like obviously they're Rain using his feet, and looks like they're just trying to see if they can get that boundary, you know, lowish risk boundary in the over, and then just tick along with the singles. But they've struggled so far this over.
Turner waits and then cuts this one, plays that shot nicely. James Wharton, bit of a fumble from him, but they settle on 1. Ashton Turner batting for the 9th time in the comp with the highest of 49 so far this campaign. And he's got 172 runs against his name at the moment in 2024 T20 Blast. 61 for 5, last ball of the over. Rain gets his front leg out of the way and then really drags that a long way out towards Wharton at mid-wicket and picks up 1. 62 for 5 after 11.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the batters are thinking out there and thinking what they can maybe get to and what can maybe do defendable out here. I think obviously Ben Rain taking that shot on there, and obviously a little bit of a match up there with the ball spinning back into him, hoping that he could possibly clear the rope with that slog sweep. But yeah, just wondering whether they're thinking similar to what I was thinking there. Maybe if they can try and get to 150, they still need to keep hitting those, trying to hit those boundaries and playing positive. Obviously they're in a hole here, and I think Yorkshire have just got to keep trying to dry up those boundaries, and if they can do that, then I'm sure the wicket will come, because I don't think 100 and 120 will be enough on here.
No, here's Bess then back on at the Howard stand end this time, and Ben Rain again doesn't play that with a lot of conviction. It's aerial on its way towards Masood at extra cover. There's no run. Bess round the wicket, bowling his off spin to the lefty, who then steps back and pushes one up to James Wharton, who's out there sweeping at cover. 1 run.
It looked challenging out there for Warts, just on those practice pitches. They've seen a bit of practice over the last few days, just trying to make sure he gets in front of those when he's trying to pick the ball up and make it a little bit easier for him. He just knocked a couple on there, but done really well to keep the ball in front of him.
In comes Bess again. Turner hauls this one up to long on for a single. You're saying that now because you're on the broadcast, but in the changing rooms you're basically having a laugh at him, aren't you, if he fumbles one and it bobbles?
No, absolutely not. I know how difficult it is, especially out there, but he's committing to the ball really well.
I'm sure there's a bit of banter as this one fired in, looked a little more quickly by Dom Bess, just past the off stump of a swishing Ben Rain once again.
Yeah,
so
fantastic Yorker that from Dom, isn't it? He's bowled that a lot in this competition so far.
This time straighter, he's appealing for LBW. Neil Mallender is unmoved. Smart bit of work by Ferreira, by the way, earlier on for the stumping.
Yeah, did really well. Obviously, it looked like it just grabbed and held a bit, and I think Lees I believe he was stumped at the Riverside as well, I believe.
He was.
Yeah, so.
Off
yeah,
the
nice
ball
bit
of
of
Moriarty, yeah.
Well, that just looked like it spun a bit. Obviously, the camera's on a little bit of an angle, but I suspect it was maybe just outside leg stump pitching, and hence the sweep to the leg side that Rain was going for. But another good over for Yorkshire.
There's Bess.
Oh, nice shot.
Yep, Rain has cut that one away backward of point and gone through third man, where there is a vacant area, so 4 off Moriarty's final ball, Bess's final ball of the over. And so 68 for 5 after 12, Durham.
Yeah, really nice shot that. I'm sure Don will be disappointed there, just offered up a bit of width, a bit of pace on the ball. He just let that come and threaded it straight between the short third man and backward point. Really nice shot, exactly what I talked about. Just, I think they're obviously going to try and find those low risk boundaries if they can and tick along with some singles and try and pick up those 8 and over. I think that's possibly 11, I think it was in the last 2 overs. So they're probably a little bit behind, but still trying to keep that positive intent, looking for those boundaries. But again, Yorkshire doing a fantastic job so far in this innings.
Turner on strike is on 10. It's 68 for 5, and it's Moriarty to bowl his final over of his 4, and that's a top edge down through third man. So successive boundaries, final ball of the last over and the first ball of this, which won't do Durham's cause any harm.
Yep, take them everywhere you can get. I think when the score's looking like this, if you're the batting team, you're not too fussed about how they come. I'm sure Ashton Turner won't be, and he's picked up another 4 for his total, and you know, nice to get a boundary off early in the over.
Here he is again, round the wicket, left arm. He's got right over the top of this, Turner, and swept it out to cow corner where Jordan Thompson does the fielding. They get 1. The Windies, by the way, finished 79 for 6 in their second innings. They're still 171 behind. That's the stumps on day 2 in the Test match. So if you've got tickets for days 4 or 5, well, you're going to have to be hoping for a monsoon-like deluge tomorrow to give you half a chance of seeing any cricket on either of those 2 days. 73 for 5. Reverse sweep for the first time this evening. Ben Raine has got it away of a fashion and picked up a single down through what would originally have been short third man. Moriarty, 3 balls left in his spell. He's only gone for the 18 so far, so very tidy stuff from him. Turner on strike. I'm going to walk right across. I think I'm right in saying that is the first bowling extra conceded tonight.
I think you might be right, Doji.
That's been also really tidy, because there's been some nights when we had 8 and 9 wides, as Moriarty is a subject to another shot where we've seen a reverse tried by Turner this time. Didn't quite get it right. Did he signal leg by there?
No, it was buys, I believe.
Some bat. Oh, buys, right.
Yeah.
Right, the umpire next to me signals buys. Glad he knows the laws. Moriarty round the wicket. Oh, this is going to be the first 6 of the night, and comfortably so, into the north-east stand by Ben Raine. Moriarty will be disappointed, after a tight spell so far, as I mentioned. It kicks the ground in frustration.
Yeah, really nice shot from Ben Raine. Just sat and waited. Ball looked like it just sat in the pitch, as it has done a little bit all night. It was a little bit too short, maybe a little bit too slow from Dan, and it's just sat up and he's opened up his body, and that shot over mid-wicket. Fantastic shot for 6.
The final ball of his spell is just pushed out into the offside, where Jordan Thompson comes in off the western terrace boundary to field. So Turner on 15, Raine on 22 now, end of 13 overs, and that was an expensive over, the most expensive of the match so far. So it just shows there are still some runs out there, Johnny. 15 runs coming from that final Moriarty over. He's finished 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 26.
Yeah, I think he'll obviously be disappointed, Dan, with that last over, you know, with the unfortunate edge for 4, and then obviously that 6 towards the end of the over there, and say not necessarily ruined his figures, but could have been a lot better than what they are. But yeah, again, exceptional again from Dan, just 26 off his 4, and you know, it's been the same throughout most of the competition, really, with the Yorkshire spinners doing a pretty good job in most of the games we've played. And yeah, just wonder whether we might see a bit of seam just to change up the pace of the game again.
Yeah, best 2 overs, 1 for 14 so far. He's on from the Howard stand end again. James Wharton, has he? No. It was a flat drive, really, if you like, flat bat through the covers there by Ben Raine, and Wharton fully sprawled to his diving to his left, couldn't quite keep it back off the boundary rope on the east side of the ground.
Yeah, it was a really good effort. Ball went out there quickly, a little bit of width from Bess again, and it slid onto the bat nicely.
And he goes back this time. This could be a catch. Will it be a catch? Oof, no, not quite a catch. 6 runs, in fact. So Ben Rain has really started to get going here, and he's lofted that over Adam Lyth. I think it is way out there at long on. Had James Wharton been under it, he might have got the fingernails to it, but Adam Lyth not the tallest.
Yeah, just a little bit short, maybe a little bit slow, just sat up, and a really good shot again from Ben Rain, and just looks like they're just starting to get used to these spinners.
Here's Bess again. Bess again. And that's pushed down the ground. Tell you what, the similarity is tonight, because we expect to see Dan Moriarty with short hair. Bess's had his haircut, hasn't he?
Yeah, looks like it. I think looks like the blonde blonde tints are just fading a little bit. Oh.
the blonde sort of skunk on his head that he's had for the rest of the season. So they got a single there. 94 for 5. And Turner turns this one into the leg side, and Best does the fielding.
Yeah, again, smart batting that from Turner. He knows that Rain's obviously going well, and 4 and a 6 off the first 2 balls. Like I said, keeping those wickets in hand for them to really give it a good go in these last 5 overs is going to be crucial.
Well, they've added 45 in the last bang-on 5 overs now, so they really have managed to up the ante as Rain tries to paddle one around the corner, and it's made contact with the pads, leg by.
Yeah, I just wonder whether we could maybe have switched to seam. I suspect we might do that next over, but we'll wait and see.
Bess over the wicket, bowling to Turner, drives straight back at him as he caught it. He has taken it clean. Super effort off his own bowling. Moriarty couldn't manage to reel one in earlier, but Don Bess has shown him the way to go in that respect. And at this point in time, with Durham starting to get themselves a foothold in this game, that's a vital wicket.
Yeah, really good return catch from Don Bess. It might have been straight at him, but you can see what Turner's trying to do there. He's obviously, you know, some people will look at that and think, again, why didn't he just knock the single? But the ball was up there, and he thought it was definitely a chance to hit a boundary there straight down the ground, and I'm sure that's one of his massive strengths in his game, and he's just not got underneath it enough. And full credit to Bess there, taking a really good return catch. But another dangerous man coming into bat at number 8, Michael Jones, I believe.
Sure is.
Wonder whether they've just tactically held him back in the order. Obviously, I'm not too sure on that. I'm not party to their team talks, but you know, and that was the thing I was talking about. If they've got players in the tent to come in, if they bat fairly low down the order, if they can keep those wickets in hand, then you know it's a chance for them to maybe get up towards that 140, 150 mark. But really key wicket for Yorkshire.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to know whether they would have gone for seam, as you've been suggesting in the last couple of overs, but they maybe, given that wicket's been taken, maybe they've gone back to spin here with Jaffa Chauhan for his 3rd over, because he's on at the coastal lane end, and he's got a wicket again with his first ball of a spell. Ben Rain, so 2 in successive deliveries at either end, and given what was going on out there with Durham, a 56-run partnership now followed by a 0-run partnership, they're 96 for 7, and it's just going to check their progress again, as wickets always do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just classic T20 cricket, isn't it? And especially the situation they're in, with it being 6 wickets down, it's just looked, and it's probably just looked that in that delivery there that Ben Rain's thinking, you know, I don't want to go too aggressive here and try and rebuild, and ultimately it looks like that's maybe been his little bit of his downfall there. Just trying to knock one into the leg side and not maybe being as positive, you know, in the back of his mind, thinking I probably need to take it deep, and you know, and that's all it takes. And 2 wickets, 2 balls, game changes again. Momentum looked like it was swinging towards Durham for them to have a good last 6 overs, but back-to-back wickets right back in Yorkshire's favour again.
Ben Dorcius is the new man in on appealing for a 2nd in succession, and he's gone. Caught behind by Ferreira. Chauhan strikes again. 96 for 8. That's a team hat-trick, if you like. But Jaffa Chauhan is on a hat-trick of his own with this next delivery.
Yeah, that's fantastic bowling again. It just looks like he's just bowled the wrong in there, the googly. And on this tacky surface, the googly tends to spin a bit more than the leg spinner at times. And that's a nice catch from Ferreira there. behind the stumps, and as you say, Dodgy, a team hat-trick, and that's really putting the knife into the back of Durham's fight back, if you will. Yeah, and it's looking a long way back for them in this game.
Callum Parkinson or Nathan Souter, looking like the latter, I think, going out there at number 10 then for Durham. So, well, what sort of topsy-turvy fortunes you see in T20 cricket? We've seen it this season. Some cracking performances, a couple of desperate ones, some that have been really close but not quite, and then tonight Durham really been challenged here, and that's not to say that Yorkshire won't be, before everybody gets carried away and automatically assumes the points are in the bag here. They've still got to go out there and knock off whatever runs Durham managed to muster, and they've still got 5.5 overs to try and find something. Souter got a single with his first ball.
Yeah, I think they'll be hoping to get to 120 here if they can. They might feel like they can have half a sniff if they pick up some wickets in the power play, but again, as we saw at Chesterfield in our game on Sunday, a quick start from the batters, it could be all over.
Oh, he's got him again! So Chauhan couldn't quite manage the hat-trick, but this one has just gone straight on, top spin by the looks of things, shot through and beats Michael Jones, who's cleaned up without scoring first ball. 97 for 9.
Yeah, looks like the wrong one. I think Doji has just gone straight through the gate, almost a little bit like an off spinner. Just a gap between bat and pad there. Wonder whether he's picked it or not. Only he'll be able to tell you that. There's a fantastic delivery, and that's exactly what Jaffa brings to the table. That mystery, that leg spin, such a great asset to have, and he's shown why in this game. Coming back tonight, been fantastic. I mean, not just him, I think all the Yorkshire bowlers have been brilliant and put the pressure on right from the start. You know, 3 wickets in the power plays, I believe, is the stat is 80% of the games you win. And Yorkshire look like we're well on our way to securing the 2 points, but as you say, never count your chickens in this game. Anything can happen.
So Callum Parkinson, well, first and foremost, he's got to try and help get through the next 32 deliveries that remain in this Durham innings, because they've got to try and see out as many balls as they can. Another appeal for LBW to a turning delivery, but not given by Richard Kettleborough. But what an over by Jaffa Chauhan. He's bowled 2.5, no maidens, 4 for 13 so far. Can he finish it? Parkinson on strike, Souter at the non-striking end, and he comes once more, and Parkinson goes well across, shuffles across the crease, turns it into the leg side, end of the over, and rightly Jaffa Chauhan gets very warm applause indeed, because he conceded 1 run during that over and picked up 3 wickets. Quite amazing.
Yeah, fantastic over, and it's just swung massively in Yorkshire's favour. You know, I gave 2 scores to Yodoji, and it was looking like it was going to be the first one, as it looked like it might be on the way to 140, 150 for Durham. As I said, you get those wickets, it really kills off the game, and it could be close to 100 all out here. And I'm sure Yorkshire will be hoping that they can knock this last wicket over and help the net run rate out. I'm sure there'll be, you know, the 2 points are obviously the main priority, but I'm sure there'll be a half an eye on that as well. You never know. It's always seems to be a tight group in the North group for that 4th spot, so I'm sure that might be playing on the minds a little bit.
Here's the other JT from the Howard stand end, a ball that Donovan Ferreira is going to concede a run here. It looked like it might have been a leg side wide, wasn't given by Neil Malinder. Was he just juggling with that, or did he have trouble reeling it in?
No, I think he tried to claim it was a catch, so he threw it in the air, tried to con the umpire. We've all done it. And I think he threw it a bit too high and a bit wayward, and they've smart batting from Parkinson there at the non-striker's end, calling his partner through for a single. The ball was still live.
So they got through for a bye. 98 for 9. Thompson then to Parkinson, who is bounced wide of off stump and
No
not
ball.
going to do much danger to most of us. In fact,
Too
no
high.
ball, yeah. Well, we've seen one or two instances this year where that last wicket, or maybe penultimate wicket in an innings, whatever format, has proved a bit tricky. Let's hope things don't go to pot here, but the 100 is up in the 16th over. 100 for 9 though. Thompson in again, and Callum Parkinson receives one down the leg side. Here we go. So a wide.
Yeah, I was just about to say the discipline's obviously been really good from Yorkshire, as you said. Just that one wide from Moriarty earlier on, you know, and that's testament to the bowlers of really putting the batters to the sword and not giving them any freebies. And we've just given a couple cheap runs away there. I'm sure they'll be disappointed.
Yeah, 2 wides, 2 no balls, 6 leg byes and a bye so far. And Parkinson opens the face, runs this one down to third man, and Moriarty returns it. Are you all right to come if we let you go at the end of this over? Are you all right to come back up for a bit of the second half as well?
Absolutely. I mean,
Marvellous.
we'll see how the batters go, but there might
Yep.
not be much for me to commentate on. Fingers crossed, anyway.
Oh dear.
From a Yorkshire's point of view, anyway.
I can feel an element of foreboding about that.
No, I don't believe in the commentator's curse, so.
Thompson from the Howard stand end, and that is dropped backward of point, fielded there by David Milan. No run. Be interesting to see what Milan and Adam Lyth do at the top of the order here, in view of what they've seen and the fact that it looks like they're not going to need to score a massive rate.
Yeah, I suspect they will probably play how they normally play. I think Adam will definitely give himself a chance to get in, but if it's there, he'll definitely go after it, and I think Doward will just play his normal game.
Thompson in, that's turned into the leg side by Souter, and they're going to come back for 2. He timed that little turn very nicely, just took the pace off it, and there was a long chase in for both George Hill and James Wharton, the latter returning the ball from the outfield.
Yeah, it's really good fielding. It was a really nice touch, but I just wonder whether they were maybe a little bit deep on the boundary, those two out there. I won't be thinking as a number 10 and number 11 that they're going to be clearing me on the rope, so it looks like that's the way they're going to go, with a little touch of into the leg side. So looks like they've just moved in 2 or 3 yards further in from after that ball.
Thompson is in, it's turned into the leg side by Souter, and he's going to pick up another 1 to the incoming James Wharton. So basically you've just written off all number 10 and 11s. Is that a BBC headline for the night?
Well, I mean, I think they'll be thinking, can we bat the overs? That's how I'd be thinking if I was number 10 and 11. I'm thinking, can we pick up 1s and 2s? And maybe if we get one that's short and wide, or, you know, off the legs, can we get it in the gap for 4?
Here comes Thompson again, and Callum
so.
Parkinson runs it down fine through what would have been first slip. Moriarty's at third man, they get 1 to complete that Jordan Thompson over. He's bowled 3 overs, 1 for 16. Brilliant. Thanks, Johnny, for coming up and spending a bit of time with us, and hopefully we'll see you back in the second half then. 4 overs remaining then in this Durham innings. 106 for 9. Souter on 4, Parkinson on 2. Graham is back alongside, and well, you've been sitting and watching everything that's going on. Any other observations?
I think Yorkshire bowled pretty well. I like that wicket that Jahan took, the googly. That was a very good delivery. They need to get this last wicket out now.
Yep, Parkinson on strike. It's been dinked up in the air, premeditated shuffle across the crease, and he's scooped it of a fashion over his left shoulder. He's got 1 run because there was no fielder down there at short fine leg.
I think Jonathan's right in terms of this pair. They're trying to see out the overs, and you can understand why.
Yep.
And maybe the field is a bit too far out at times, but they need to get this last wicket. It's a bit frustrating for them now.
Souter on strike, and round about leg stump. This one pitches by Chauhan. There's a little bit of almost the yes, no, wait, sorries about it, but they both end up going back.
It's numbers 10 and 11. That can certainly happen.
Chauhan into his final over. What a spell this has been. 3 wickets in 4 balls in his previous over from this Howard stand end. Into over number 17, and here he is again. Oh, good delivery once more, which turns away from the right-hander, an orthodox leg spin delivery, and Souter didn't quite have the tools in the kit to deal with that.
No, he didn't, but it's still there.
107 for 9. Still 21 deliveries for Durham to make something of this, if they can, this last pair. As he goes for the sweep shot and misses, and Jaffa Chauhan's got a 5 for.
Yes,
5 for 14, stumped,
yeah,
says Neil Mallender. Donovan Ferreira whipping off the bails. Superb spell of bowling from Jaffa Chauhan, 3.4 overs, 5 for 14. Souter gone for 4 off 11, just pulling that back foot out of the crease in his stretch to try and play the shot. And Durham have been wrapped up for 107, which is an outstanding effort with the ball by the Vikings.
Absolutely, yes. The end came suddenly there, and another good piece of work behind the stumps by Ferreira. A quick piece of stumping there. And so Yorkshire now chasing 108 to win. Surely they must think they've got a great chance of this match now. And of course, we're talking about the situation in the North Group before the match started. The fact that it looks as if, depending on other results, as if they're going to have to win these last 4 matches, which is not an easy thing to do in T20 cricket. But they've made a very good start, as it were. The first half has gone down very, very well. 107 all out Durham, and Yorkshire can be pretty pleased with what they've done, bowling and fielding, and it's up to the batters now to see them home and get the win.
Yeah, other things at play, of course. Yeah, first and foremost, of course, you want to snaffle the points. There's net run rate when we're getting towards the back end, and Durham will be concerned about that now in being shot out here if Yorkshire do happen to play well and can win this with some time in hand. But I think first and foremost they've just got to try and make sure that they get the winning points. But they've been shot out in 16.4 overs there, so they haven't utilised anything like their full quota.
No.
And we'll hope that they can peg Yorkshire back when they get out there.
Yeah, if I can just mention something that's going on now during the interval, the Yorkshire County age group players and regional players are parading around the outfield to actually celebrate the season they've had. So if you're listening to this and you're in the crowd, then give them your support, give them your applause, and thanks for the information from Kevin Gresham, who's the coach development manager and the girls performance pathway executive for the Yorkshire Cricket Board. So well done to these youngsters. You never know, there could be 1 or 2 on this pitch now. They're walking around the outfield that could well be playing for Yorkshire in the years to come. It's great to see, and we've seen a good performance by Yorkshire in the field as well. So 107 all out Durham. Yorkshire, I think I've got a great chance of winning this match now.
Okay, so let's just quickly fire through the bowling figures and we'll take a short break while the players do. Ben Cliff, 3 overs, 1 for 18, did well. Don Best, 3 overs, 2 for 26 also. Dan Moriarty, 4 overs, 1 for 26. He felt, I think, like he'd let himself down a bit at the back end, but still a decent spell. Jordan Thompson, 3 overs, 1 for 16. And Jaffa Chauhan, well, the headline act with 3.4 overs, no maidens, 5 for 14. Super stuff from him. Yorkshire need 108 to win. Back soon when the players come out for the second innings.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back onto the field your umpires this evening, Neil Mallender and Richard Kettleborough. And making their way onto the outfield tonight's visitors, Durham.
Welcome back then from Headingley as the Durham fielders plus umpires Richard Kettleborough and Neil Mallender make their way back out to the middle, and the equation is thus: Yorkshire need 108 runs if they are to win this and keep hope for their slim quarter-final qualification hopes alive.
Chasing 108 for victory.
David Milan and Adam Lyth, as per norm, are the two men to go out there and try it. It'll be interesting to see if they do follow the usual formula. David Milan usually takes a few balls longer than Adam Lyth to play himself in. But Adam also capable of having a look, and of course they've got plenty of time to do that tonight if they want to do it. Johnny Tadasol, when he was with us in the first half of the contest, suggested that they would probably play the same game as they normally do, and maybe, in a way, because they're so well rehearsed in that could be advisable. We just don't know. But obviously, it was a bit sticky out there, the pitch, and so you just want to have a look and try and get used to the pace here, wouldn't you, rather than get under something early on and regret it?
Absolutely, JD. Yeah, I think they'll play themselves in. The bowlers have set them up, and 108 to win, so you know it's not too taxing a target, is it? But here we go.
Yep, Colin Ackerman is going to open the bowling from this Kirkstall Lane end of the ground. First delivery is turned into the leg side by Adam Lyth, and that's got himself and Yorkshire off the mark.
But it's fascinating, JD, isn't it? Because, you know, the first 6 overs, only 2 fielders allowed outside the circle. Do you try and get a lot of your runs inside the first 6 overs because of the field?
That's, yeah, I think pretty much, you know, Johnny might have been thinking that when he said what he said about playing as they normally do, because that's what they're used to. They've only got the 2 men outside as Milan punches to extra cover, and there's no run. If you'd shot a team out for 107 and you were playing on what you'd call a pitch, you know, a normal pitch if you like, where the ball was coming on, I don't think there'd be any problem with that, would there? But just from what we saw in the first half, will there be a little bit more caution? Milan turns one into the leg side, they pick up 1.
But they can afford just to knock it around, can't they? Pick up the 1s and the 2s, the odd boundary for the bad ball which will come.
Yep, here's Ackerman again, and Adam Lyth just milking another single with a man set back on the mid-wicket boundary, which it would be the longer of the 2 boundaries tonight, with where the pitch is set, which is just to the western terrace side of being central. The boundary has been brought in a little way from the east side of the ground, but not as much as it had, I don't think, when they played it the other week. It might have been a little bit closer, I think, away on the east side of the ground. Another dot ball. So the 2 lefties from the Kirkstall Lane end bowling are heading to the long boundary, as that final delivery of Ackerman's over is just dropped into the leg side. So certainly just a sensible safety first approach, first up, and picked up 3 singles.
Absolutely, JD, and there's no real scoreboard pressure, is there? You know, and the only way that Durham are going to win tonight is to bowl Yorkshire out. It's the only way, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as long as Yorkshire keep wickets intact, then you've got to think that you know, they should be winning this match. And certainly if Yorkshire don't win tonight, they'll be very, very disappointed after bowling Durham out for 107.
Yeah, Ben Dorshus is going to open
–
from the Howard stand end of the ground. Had a spell with Worcestershire. I think he previously played in a T20 match for them up here 2 or 3 years ago. He's in, bowling to Lyth, who's trying to run this one down through the vacant 3rd man area, but yeah, he's just played the leave after the ball had gone through to the gloves of Ollie Robinson.
I just wonder in this situation if Yorkshire could be caught in two minds, JD. You know, whether to attack or whatever. They could be caught in two minds here. You'd hope not.
Dorcius, left arm over, I should say, bowling to Lyth. He's slid one down the leg side. There's an early wide, signalled by Malander. I would be surprised, given the vast experience and abilities of these two players, if they're caught in two minds. I think they'll have a plan, and I don't expect them to be getting out by being in two minds. They might get out by playing the way they want to play, and it just doesn't come off for them. Dorcius in, and nicely pushed down the ground past the bowler by Adam Lyth for another single. So we may see just more of a conventional approach with the bat, like we'd expect to see with a red ball, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Such a low total on the board. And just make sure you get across the line if you can.
And that would make perfect sense, really. One thing that Durham can't do is the ball before, bowler wide. They can't afford to do that.
Nope. So Lyth on 3 so far. Milan has the 1 against his name and is the man on strike. 5 without loss. 2 balls into the second over. So a further 103 to win. And Milan's going to knock off one of those down to third man. He came in off the boundary to do the job.
That was Parkinson. He's laughing about something, is Parkinson. Maybe someone from the crowd has said something to him. That wouldn't be like a Yorkshire crowd, would it?
Not at all. Got to go up to his territory, of course, tomorrow night. Dorcius in again, and Lyth just playing down one line. The ball going down another through to Ollie Robinson. No run. You wouldn't expect it to be frenetic, so there's a bit of a cricket hum type feel to the crowd. There's a bit of fun going on by the sound of things, and they're probably fairly relaxed at this moment in time. Predominantly home support after what happened with the ball there. Dorcius in again, the shape away from the left-handed Adam Lyth this time. Good delivery.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, this I don't think this pitch is helping the batters too much, all in all, is it?
The big opportunity for them to have a much longer look at this than they get in just about any other match that they're playing in. So why not? Final ball of the second over. They got 3 off the first, they have 3 off the second so far, and that will remain the case as the final ball is dropped into the pitch at the end of Dorcius's follow through. So 6 without loss after 2.
Yeah, 2 good overs by the Durham bowlers. But going back to my point made earlier, they'll want to take wickets. They need to take wickets. But they've made a good start. 6 without loss after 2 overs. But Yorkshire's openers are still there. And it's going to be Milan facing now. He's facing Ackerman, bowling from the Kirksall Lane end.
Yeah, Colin Ackerman, let's just have a check-in on his campaign so far. Of course, he used to turn up in the car park at Leicestershire, and there was his famous world record over plastered all over the advertising boards down there. As this first delivery of his over is pushed back along the deck to him by Milan, and there's no run. Ackerman has only bowled twice in the campaign so far. 4 overs for 37 and hasn't taken a wicket before tonight. And he's conceded 4 more there. David Milan getting inside one and playing one of his customary drives through the covers in lovely orthodox fashion.
Absolutely. For me, that's one of the shots of the night. That was beautiful. It really was. In full control, 4 runs.
Ackerman, 33 years of age now. Taken 7 T20 international wickets as Milan can't get this one away through the leg side. And there's no run. 88 T20 wickets in total, including that best of 7 for 18. South African born, of course. Here he is again. Milan played that from fairly deep, but straight pretty much at Adam Lyth, who was therefore anchored at the non-striking end, not wanting to stray and get or have the possibility of being run out. 10 without loss, 2 left in the third. Here he comes again. Milan punching along the ground all the way up to long off. Graham Clark coming into field, 1 run.
That's all they have to do, JD, isn't it? Hit the odd boundary and take your 1s and your 2s, and that will do.
Yeah, what you may be about to hear may not be the most exciting T20 commentary of all time. There's an appeal for LBW as Adam Lyth tries to play a slog sweep really out towards the square boundary. No run. There's a pretty ordinary photograph posted by Yorkshire lad of certain Tattersall and Doige commentating in the previous innings. Sorry about that, folks. Andy Walker says, Yorkshire, you require 108 to beat Durham. A tremendous bowling effort from the boys and what looks like a bit of a tricky, grippy pitch.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Fair comment,
Andy. That is at Sporting Lives 1. If you want to get in touch, or BBC West Yorkshire Sport at gmail.com.
Ben Dorcius bowling from the Howard Stand end.
Yeah, to Milan, who punched one backward of point, fielded there, no run.
Yes, it's a bit like watching a county championship match, this, isn't it, JD? In some ways. Dictated, of course, by the fact that they only need 108 to win.
Well, you know, we'll take that because the Yorkies hit form in that, of course, in the last 2 matches, so they're in tremendous form in the Champo. David Milan, of course, not playing that format, but he's on strike here. Ooh, good delivery from Dorcius, which has the beating. Did that go past the inside edge?
I think it did. I think it could have gone over the stumps.
Good delivery anyway.
It was.
Milan is down a long way to do a bit of gardening there. The word in the shell like from Adam Lyth. So Milan on 7. Dorcius has conceded just the 3 so far from his 8 deliveries. There's a fair bit of jollification going on among the young supporters by the sound of things, as David Milan has under the circumstances tonight, that's about as good as we've seen really, because if this pitch continues to be sticky, he's got a ball that he's not quite totally got over the top of, but he's got all that ability to just play it with softer hands and still time it well enough to reach the boundary there through the Western Terrace. Super effort.
Absolutely, and of course he found it, he found the gap. Yeah, so a good shot there from Milan.
Didn't go at it hard, did he?
No.
Which has proved a bit of an issue for 1 or 2 of the Durham batters earlier. This time he's pushed one out into the offside. No run, so first boundary of the night for Yorkshire. That one to Milan. 11 to him now, 15 without loss.
Was that the first boundary?
Did he hit one already?
I think so.
Okay. I stand corrected. I'll soon tell you because I can bring up his... yeah, it's the second boundary, you're right, and I'm not. And he's just fished it one wide of off stump without using such as a muscle to move his feet. Through to Ollie Robinson, no run. I think good length delivery by Dorcius.
It's a good spell by Dorcius, isn't it?
Where was the other one he hit? Forgotten it already.
It was a good shot, I know, because we said it was a good shot. Was it a cover drive?
Yes, it was, wasn't it? It was out to the Western Terrace, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Dear me. Boundaries have not been flowing and still can't remember them, as that one's pulled down the leg side by Dorcius. That was the third boundary, this time with no contact on any part of the batting equipment of David Milan.
That's
wide.
That's 5 wides.
Yep, so 20 without loss. Milan remains on 11 and Lyth on 3.
Just praising Dorcius then, and he puts one on the leg side. It goes, evades the wicket keeper and goes for 4. Making 5 wides all in all.
Yeah, he's been okay so far. He's gone for 12 off 11, but of course trying to defend a low total. It's wickets, as you were saying, that he wants, and this is going to be a third boundary off the bat of David Milan. Square on the offside, just too much width, and he's far too good a player to miss out on opportunities like that. And it was just stand, open the face and push, and that takes Yorkshire to 24 without loss, 13 off the over in the end. Expensive, Dorcius.
Yeah, I described that as nice and easy by Milan there. He showed all his experience, and Yorkshire on their way now, 24 without loss after 4 overs. And to say that Durham need a wicket is an understatement, isn't it?
And you are indeed the master of that.
The understated.
Ackerman going to continue then for over number 5, his third over. 2 overs for 8 so far. As I was saying, he's not played many matches, having made the move from Leicestershire. Durham entering tonight's match 4th in the table on 11 points. Yorkshire with just 2 teams beneath them, down there on 8. And getting underneath this one, Adam Lyth. He's got away with it over the top of extra cover, and he's going to get back for 2. It's a shot that, given normal batting conditions, he usually absolutely nails, and is one of my favourite shots when I watch him bat, when he gets over the top of that. Fantastic to watch.
Yeah, rather fortunate there. He's got 2 for it.
Here's Ackerman again round the wicket, ball and his off spin, and it's turning to the leg side. Lyth's taking him on. Tell you what, he's a goner if Ackerman hits there direct.
He was yards out.
Yep, took a risk. Richard Kettleborough, I think, is probably saying, "You lucky, lucky man."
A worse of that effect.
And Lyth gets through for 1. So he's on 6, 27 without loss.
Yeah, he didn't even try to get him because he was well short of the crease.
Which would have been a shame, and you would have been scratching your head saying, why did you need to do that, wouldn't you? Anyway, he's got away with it, so here we go. Ball number 3 of this 5th over. 27 for none as Ackerman is in, and Milan sensibly just works that one wide of mid-on and gets through for a much easier single. 16 to him. Duckworth Lewis reckons that Yorkshire should be at 19 at this point in time. They're 28. So they're ahead of the game, and on all counts, by this point, Durham were just about losing their 3rd wicket. Ooh, good delivery this time. Turns away from the outside edge of the left-handed Lyth's bat. Ollie Robinson can't take it clean.
He's beaten all ends up there.
Yeah. Slightly concerning moment for him. Very unusual to see a T20 match where Adam Lyth's got just 7 runs as he has now with that single to his name, nearly at the end of the 5th over. But I think we've seen the approach, and it's just been measured.
It's been measured. They've hit the odd boundary when it's been a wayward delivery, but it's the 1s and the 2s, nice and easy, just good batting. Another one there, easy run.
Yep, just dropped into the leg side by Milan, so he'll go on to 17 at the end of the 5th, and Yorkshire on to 30 without loss. I think you'd have to say that Milan has looked the more comfortable of the 2. He's hit the 3 boundaries. Adam Lyth's taken the risk with the single, which didn't really need to do. He's the other aerial shot that just dropped over the top of the field, so maybe he's just finding the pitch a little bit more difficult to read than David Milan, or it might be just the deliveries he's received by comparison to what David Milan's received.
Possibly, but at the end of the day, they're both still there, and that's all that counts for Yorkshire. And
change of bowling coming into the attack from the Howard stand end, Ben Rain.
Yeah, Ben Rain, and he's Durham's leading wicket taker this season, I think. Ben Rain. He's taken 17 wickets for Durham in this competition this season.
Yep, and he's bowling right arm around the wicket to Milan. That ball will shape in, if there is any shape on it, towards the lefty. Useful bowler, Ben Rain. He tends to pick up or cause a few problems in both forms of the game in the matches I've seen him play. And he did did that. I think I'm right in saying up at the Riverside. Yeah, 2 for 25 off his 4 overs. He's in and bowling here, and that is helped out back at a point by Milan, but there is no run. I'll bring Johnny in at the end of this power play over, and he can tell us more his thoughts on Ben Rain, but seems to get shape on the ball.
He's got 1 or 2 runs for Durham in their innings as well, so you know, genuine all-rounder.
It always looks like it might feel like a heavier ball than when it arrives at your end, maybe, but I'm not sure about that delivery. I think he's taken the pace off it this time, as that's dropped into the offside by Milan, and they get a single. I think you might have been able to.
That was a slow.
That one into the offside.
I'd have picked it anyway. It was a slower ball. Yeah.
So 31 on the board, and at the moment Durham still searching for a first wicket. 77 more runs needed by Yorkshire, and these two have very sensibly given themselves a bit of time to have a look out there. Adam Lythe's found it a bit more challenging by the looks of things than Milan, but here he goes over cow corner and will pick up 6 runs. Well, you got to credit him for waiting for his moment, and Ben Rain, it was probably felt like it was off or 4th stump possibly. We're not at the right angle to say specifically, but he's just played it on length, hasn't he?
He has, and of course with still in the power play, he's picked the right spot there of a cow corner. 6 runs, and Yorkshire really are on their way now.
So 37 without loss. Not that it really matters, but Durham were 35 for 3 at the end of the power play, and this time he's gone for a scoop for 6 runs over his head, over the right shoulder, and out through fine leg down to our right. So Ben Rain costing a few here.
That's more like a T20 shot, JD.
Yeah. Just have a look at it on the replay if we get an opportunity. I think they've already done that. Step right across.
In full control.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really timed that superbly.
Absolutely.
And just helped it on its way, really. Clears the boundary. So he's now the leading scorer of the pair all of a sudden on 19. And it just feels like, just the way he's pinged that one to backward point without scoring a run, that all of a sudden he's feeling like he's understanding what's going out there more. 43 without loss at the end of 6. So we'll bring in Johnny Tattersall, who has joined us again. Durham 35 for 3, as I say, at this same stage, and Yorkshire 43 without loss. So Johnny, thanks for coming back and ahead of the game in all respects at this stage.
Yeah, played really well, as I thought they would do. Adams obviously tried to play a couple of shots and not got them away, but been successful in that over. Yeah, it was a really good over that for Yorkshire. Ben Rain, a quality bowler. And this wicket probably suits the style of bowling, just taking the pace off, and it looked like he got a few squirty edges in that first over he bowled.
Ackerman, he's going to bowl out here from this Kirkstall lane end. First delivery of the over with his off spin. He's just punched up to long off by Milan, 1 run.
Yeah, I was had a quick chat with the lads in the dressing room, and yeah, I don't think they were necessarily expecting it to play how it did, or they thought it was obviously not going to be as high scoring as the Birmingham game, but they still thought, you know, probably 170, and you know, the lad said Ashton Turner was a massive wicket because he's seen him get teams to that total.
Ackerman in, that's turned into the leg side by Adam Lythe for a single.
Yeah, in those situations he knows how to play. He's experienced campaigner, Perth Scorchers, and yeah, fantastic cricketer, and it was an excellent wicket, and it just set the ball rolling again for Yorkshire and cleaned up the innings, really.
Yeah, here's Ackerman again, and a delivery that turns, and Milan watches it well and defends. Yeah, so from what they'd seen, what were they thinking that a 20 over par score should have been? Did anybody mention that? What sort of a pitch it felt like on 150, 180? As he's in again, now this has been lofted away over long on for 6 runs by David Milan once again. Ackerman costing a few now in this over, and Yorkshire continuing well on their way here.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't too much discussed about a past score and what they thought, but I think before they went out, obviously with Sean saying that we would have batted if we would have won the toss. I think they were expecting it to be obviously he said a used wicket at Headingley, bat first, get the runs on the board, and they were thinking, probably about 170 or something without a ball being bowled, but they still thought it was maybe possible to get that.
Ackerman to Milan, who's just done the sensible thing and punched this to long off for 1.
It was a lovely shot from Malalat, just using his feet and coming down the wicket, and I think it's just shown, they're coming up to 7 overs now that they've been out there, and it just looked like it's been getting a little bit easier, and we saw that with Rain and Turner just putting a partnership together. It got a bit easier the longer they spent out there.
Yeah, Milan Blythe, I should say, turns it to mid-on this time, picks up another single to complete the 7th over at 53 without loss. At this point, Durham had been 40 for 4, so out there at the minute in complete control. Any mention of what was the buzz around what Jaffer had bowled like?
No, there wasn't any of that actually. They were talking about that no ball that was given. And I walked into the change rooms. I thought, well, we've just bowled him out for 107. I'm not sure I'll be too worried about a no ball that was given, but that's the mind of the professional cricketers. Always have something to complain about, don't we? But no, it was fantastic. I went into him and said really well bowled, and he had a massive smile on his face as you'd expect. But he wasn't the only one. The tone was set by Ben Cliff and Don Bess and Moriarty in the power play, and the tone being set by the 2 experienced openers, Blythe and Milan, just doing what they do best. And as you can see, Durham looking to gamble 5 in the ring.
Yep, as Adam Blythe has smashed this away. Ooh, just shy of the boundary, extra cover for 4 runs, nearly all the way. One of my favourite shots of his, generally speaking, along the ground, but he's played so well through that area.
Yeah, just backed away there, gave himself some room, and the ball looked like it was probably cannon into the stumps, but with Blythe backing away, it's in his arc to go and give himself that room and flail the bat through the covers. Lovely shot.
As he just defends this next Rain delivery, drops it down by his feet, and there is no run. Jaffa Charm, by the way, on mentioning him, easily his best T20 figures. He'd taken 12 T20 wickets before tonight, the best of 2 for 29. He's just picked up nearly half as much again in 22 deliveries. So a wonderful effort from him, using the conditions that were at his disposal. Now then, Adam Blythe had a real go at this one. He's got it, sliced it over the top of what would have been first slip, 1 bounce, and you'll hear it clatter into the boards down beneath our commentary position for 4 more. And now they've got going, it's sort of feeling like they want to finish this off pretty quickly.
Yeah, like I said, I think they're getting a little bit used to the pitch here, and I'm sure Adam probably thought that was in his arc to go, but again, probably the pitch just playing a little bit, maybe just holding in a fraction. It wasn't quite coming onto the bat, and that's probably why it took the edge. But that always seems to happen when you're massively on top in a game. When you're behind, that tends to go straight to the fielder, but this time it goes for 4.
Rain again. That's a good Yorker length delivery and well dug out by Adam Blythe. Yeah, Graham just passed me a note, so got an email from Steve Ward, scorer extraordinaire, who is tuned in, and he was with us at York yesterday for the Diamonds game. Diamonds with another impressive win. The way it's shaping up here for the Vikings, that was in the Rachel Hayo Flint Trophy. They've, unlike the Vikings at the moment, who've got it to do it tough if they're going to qualify for the Blast quarter-finals, the Diamonds are well on their way to qualifying for the semis, which, given what's been going on off the field, would be a absolutely remarkable achievement for them this season. And Steve, yeah, thank you very much for all your assistance yesterday with the team sheets and the scorecard at the end of each innings and all of that. Very useful indeed, thanks. 61 for none here with 2 balls left in the 8th, and Rain bowling to Adam Blythe, who punches that one square on the offside and will pick up another 1. And if you're these two, and whatever they say, we know that all players love to improve their records and all of that, and they pretend they never talk about it, but they do. You're eyeing up a nice little red ink here, aren't you, with 30 and 26 on the board, well set, 62 without loss, loads of time to knock them off, just 46 more runs. carry your bat, boys, if you can do that, as Milan turns one square on the leg side and will pick up another single. I'm sure the suggestions never even cross their minds out there in the middle.
No, I'm sure they'll just keep playing how they're playing, but I mean, it'll definitely be on their minds, I'm sure. Seeing the team over the line, there's no better feeling than being there at the end. Although it looks like it's a foregone conclusion in this game, you still want to be there and make sure you don't leave it to anyone else. Don't give the opposition a sniff. Say something that we've not necessarily been our most clinical with this year, but again, with 10 wickets in hand, 12 overs left, just the 45 to get. Even if there is a couple of wickets, I'm sure it shouldn't be a problem for the rest of the batting lineup we've got in store in the sheds tonight. Change of bowling, Salter, leg spin, bowled really well up at the Riverside. We're going to need something special from him tonight. They're going to try and drag this back and make it a really close fight. But you never know, somebody can have a day out in this game.
Yeah, can you stop reminding us about that experience at the Riverside the other week?
That was a great game of cricket, as I said it would be.
2 for 31 he got off his 4 overs up there. I think we both finished that completely shattered mentally and physically, didn't we?
He got a terrific run out as well. Running Ferreira out.
Yeah, which really did kick it on towards that awful conclusion as far as the Vikings were concerned, but full credit to Durham because they just kept on sticking on, didn't they, and did it. Cut shot there, played for a dot out to point. No, he was very good that night, and as you say, that run out after the false shot that Ferreira had played was a real moment in the match. Gets one past the off stump this time as Milan tries to sweep that one. So still 63 without loss. Let's get some new dentures as Milan pushes this one back to him and then puts his hand on his hip as if to say, well, okay then, not quite sure what went on there.
Yeah, it's been a nice field set, I think, here, just leaving the leg side open, big gaps at Cal corner.
This time he steps into it. He's just been offered a bit of width this time by Souter, who's a bit annoyed himself for allowing it, but he's got a man out there to cover it, so 1 run.
You've got to try something different, and they've tried that with the field. Traditionally, you probably see 3 out on the leg side boundary, and they're just offering that up to Milan there, and saying, go on if you want to. You know, they're happy to risk the boundary. They know the game's, they're very much on the back foot, and it's nearly out of sight. So they're throwing the dice there. They've just put the deep square back. No 45 for Adam Lyth. It'd be interesting to see if he goes for the paddle.
No, he's gone straight down the ground and been caught and bowled. That's a brilliant catch by Nathan Souter. Lyth from fairly deep has smacked it straight back at him, and full credit to Souter then, because Yorkshire have lost the first wicket with 64 on the board.
Yeah, that's an excellent return catch, diving to his right hand side there. I think it was one-handed in the end. It wasn't brilliantly timed from Lyth, so it had a little bit of time to get across, but it's a fantastic catch. It really is, and it probably goes a little bit, not say unnoticed, but a little bit more subdued with the context of the game for Durham. But that's a fantastic catch, and that's the one that gets the energy up. But it's difficult to get your energy up when there's not many required. The run rate's below 4 and over in a T20 game, but take nothing away from him there. It's a fantastic return catch, and they're trying all they can out there, Durham, to try and force the errors. They forced one there. He's gone with another change of bowling at this end. I think it's Baz Deleda, I believe, coming into the attack. James Wharton, the new man. Right and left combination now for Yorkshire. Seeing it frequently, and something that the team likes to do throughout the batting order, just to utilise the shorter boundary. Somebody can always be hitting to that throughout the course of an over.
Yeah, Baz Deleda then. Howard stand end, as Johnny said, right arm over, and seam turning to again here. Milan turns the first one into the leg side. There's no run. Adam Lyth's caught and bowled Souter for 30 off 23 for the record. That was the final ball of the 9th over. So just 44 more to win. Cut-off time 9:04, which seems really weird, doesn't it? It's usually 9:35, something like that, but because of the shortened Durham innings, could be in for an early one here, which is pretty good because I'm up for a 5 o'clock start in the morning. As Milan turns one square on the leg side, and they pick up one. So might be able to catch up on a bit of kip. Are you Old Trafford bound tomorrow, by the way?
I don't believe I will be, but I'm sure I'll be.
That's a shame.
I'll be on the golf course, I think, with Ben Coder and Finley Bean tomorrow afternoon, and then straight back to watch the Roses, I believe. Is on my agenda tomorrow.
Just make sure there's no injuries on the golf course, because it's not unknown for a Yorkshireman to get injured on a golf course. Johnny?
Yeah, well, we play a lot of golf these days, so yeah, hopefully there's no injuries, as you say, but thankfully at the course we're going to, there's not many big slopes.
Deleda bowls to Wharton, who's across and dropping that one into the bowler's follow through, no run. I'm trying to imagine you on a golf course, the way you play the game, touch, touch, touch. Do you sort of stroke the ball off the tee? Or have you got some hammer in there somewhere?
No, I've not got much.
Some aggression?
Not as much as some of the lads these days. In our side can hit it a long way. Jordan Thompson hits the ball a long way, and Matt Revis.
Deleda, Wharton turns it square on the leg side and will pick up one. I can imagine you're probably, to get some aggression to whack it, you probably need somebody verbalizing you from the side of the tee saying there's no way you can hit this 150 yards, Tats.
Yeah,
you might do that.
I mean, there's definitely plenty of banter with the lads and some bad chat on the tee boxes and getting in people's heads. You know, try to do anything as we can as competitive sports people to put each other off. But no, I tend to be a bit of an all-rounder with my golf game, just try and do everything consistently as much as I can.
Deleda to Milan, plays that beautifully, but straight to extra cover along the deck, no run. New Zealand women made 141 for 8 in their 20 overs. England 16 for 1 in the third in reply. Might have, if we get a chance, thanks Graham, have a flick around the other scores tonight. I noticed that Lancs hadn't started earlier on against Derbyshire down at Derby. Start delayed due to rain last I saw. Let's just check it out. Yep, still no play in that match, as Deleda is in for the final ball of the 10th, short. Oh dear. Oh, David Milan will be absolutely spitting chips. He's put together a really nice looking 29, and he's just pulled a short ball, I think from the splice. Clothed it straight to cow corner and has gone. 66 for 2.
Yeah, I think you've got that spot on, Doige. It just looked like it was quite high. A really good bouncer, great height on it, and it just looked like it was caught nice and high up on the stickers. Yeah, and it just popped to mid-wicket, and he's on his way. You know, and as simple as that, I guess. Yeah, you've got to try something different. Going to the short ball to the short side, probably not something that you'd be thinking of doing, but again, you've got to try something different in these situations, and it's paid off from there. But as you said, Doige Milan will be bitterly disappointed there that it's come to a very tame end for him. But again, got the team off to a good start in this situation. You know, if we were chasing 150, 160, I'm sure he'll be even more furious with himself. But it's not the case at the minute. But as we saw in the first innings, back-to-back wickets brings back-to-back wickets, or as they say in cricket, always put 2 on the scoreboard. 70 for 4 just starts to make it look a little bit nervy, but you'd hope not.
We love a good cliche. You've got a future behind the microphone, you know. I reckon
cricket's a game of cliches, isn't it?
Yeah. You can't tell what the pitch is like until both sides are batted. I mean, in a T20 game, that's not great, is it? That was exactly
what Adam Lyth said before he went out to bat. Never judge a pitch until both sides have batted on it.
Brilliant. Here's Souter continuing, and that's punched down the ground to long on by James Wharton. Sensible shot. He picks up 1. 67 for 2. I can tell you that at Worcester, Leicestershire needs 17 off the last 2 balls, so they're going to struggle to get those. So Worcestershire dragging Leicestershire back, which is, I suppose, a good result for everybody else. It's Worcestershire bottom of the table going into that one tonight. They made 184 for 8. Leicestershire 168 for 9, needing those 17 off 2. Unlikely. That's the only other match actually in play in this group tonight, because the Derbyshire-Lancashire match isn't. Essex made 187 for 3 against Kent at Chelmsford, and Kent have got a bat in the South group, as this first delivery to Shan Masood is pushed back to the bowler, no run. And at Cheltenham, Middlesex beat Gloucestershire by 29 runs. Middlesex 181 for 8, Gloucestershire 152 all out in the South group. As Souter's latest delivery wide of off stump. Masood tries to play at it but doesn't make contact. 41 needed by Yorkshire here. They've got 8 wickets in hand, and he's struck that well, Shan Masood. That's a good piece of fielding at extra cover. Alex Lees, I think, was the man. 1 run.
Yeah, it's surprising, even though it's 4.3 and over, both mid-on, mid-off up in the ring, 6 men in the ring. Oh, it might have been 7 actually, I think, with the slip-in plate. It just puts a little bit of pressure on you, even though there's 4.3 required in over as a batsman. It just makes you think.
Wide of off stump this time, and fired through more quickly by Souter. And James Wharton leaves. It was a tight leave. Leicestershire, by the way, 2 points above Yorkshire, so in losing that one tonight, Yorkshire, well, we'll see where they end up net run rate wise and how that affects Leicestershire as well. So they might be climbing at least 1 place if they can see this through. Wharton pushes one down to long on for a single. End of the over, 11 complete, 69 for 2.
Yeah, nice start from Wharton there. 2 nice drives down the ground. Keep the scoreboard ticking over. Not much has to be done from Yorkshire, but never want to leave it too late. I'm sure they won't. I think the first time we're going to see Parkinson tonight. You know, they've still got tricks up the sleeve. An exceptional bowler, Callum Parkinson. And I'm sure he's definitely somebody that Durham turn to with the ball. We'll see what he's got for us tonight. I'm sure Alex Lee's just having a long chat with him here. I think they're obviously trying to keep as many in the ring as they possibly can to try and create that pressure, build some dots, just try and creep that run rate up to 5, back up to 6 if they can. And try and set a little bit of panic in the Yorkshire dugout. But again, a couple of big shots from the batters, couple of boundaries, those nerves just go right away again, and it comes right back into Yorkshire's hands. Let's see what happens here.
Yep, left arm, of course, left arm spin. Callum Parkinson, first ball from round the wicket to Wharton is pushed to backward point. There's no run, and no stranger to playing here either, because of course the Superchargers, he's had a go with them.
Yeah,
the ground,
absolutely.
and other competition.
Yeah, I'm probably sure he'll be probably a little bit disappointed he's not played more games in the 100. You know, he's got a lot to offer, bowls at different times in the game.
There he is with a straighter delivery, and that's nudged away backward of square leg by James Wharton. Plays that different to a lot of people, and he gets right across and he almost turns his body right round and just punches it square as if he was facing a straight ball and punching it back up the pitch.
Yeah, lets it come right in underneath his eyes and just uses the pace of the ball, and like you say, doesn't go across the line of it too early. He always tries to let it come in as long as he possibly can. Make sure he's not playing across the line of the ball and getting caught on the pads. Tucked away nicely for 1.
Masood on strike. He was going to pick up 1 down the ground. It was aerial but safe to long on. And what was the feeling around about James Wharton's knock down at Chesterfield in the Championship recently? Obviously went for his, got to his first 100, and then, well, he eclipsed your PB, didn't he, with that 188, knocked off the 180.
Yeah, he certainly did. He played extremely well.
Parkinson bowling to him here, and he's gone back, and ball that doesn't appear to bounce. Watched it well, kept it out.
Yeah, we were all so chuffed for him. We know he's got it in the locker, and you know, like a lot of our young players, we know they're capable of producing this, you know, these types of performances, and it's just giving them the environment and giving them the chance to be able to do it on a consistent basis.
Wharton facing up again here, gives himself room outside off stump and punches that one out to the cover sweeper. 1 run. That's all it needs. 36 to win in 49 deliveries.
Yeah, I think it's just important as senior players that we perform at the right times as well, to allow these guys to be able to do their thing as they're getting into the game.
Parkinson switches to over the wicket to the left-handed Masood, who tries a reverse sweep but can't get it past the field. End of the over then, so 8 remaining, 72 for 2, 36 to win.
Yeah, Waltz has been fantastic. Played a lovely knock against Birmingham as well the other night. Struck the ball beautifully, and it's just about that learning now. He'll be disappointed that he got out and in that period of the game, but it's all a learning experience. Lads are, you know, I've heard as well, and the chatter I've heard about T20 cricket, you only get better by playing it. And you know, you look at players like Ravi Bopara, you know, 41 but still does the business, and the experience that he's gained from playing the game for such a long time only makes you a better player.
Now then, he's used his feet here, Wharton. Made that on the full and smacked it straight to extra cover. Past the later in there, I think it is, and there's no run. Souter continuing, by the way. Just 2.1 overs, no maidens. 1 for 4 so far for him. He's bowling to Wharton this time, who might have got some bat on that. He's clipped off the legs either way. No, it looks as though Kettlebury's going to signal a leg by, but it's still a run on the board. 73 for 2.
Yeah, just that lack of spin that Souter gets, that low trajectory and skiddy. Might be a tacky pitch, but when he gets a little bit the other wrong side of it and pushes it in, just slides in off the pitch. And leg by there for Wharton. Deep square's just gone back, I believe. No 45 again, same field to Adam Lyth when he was dismissed.
Oh, Masood reaching for one that appeared to just go straight on the angle through to the gloves of Ollie Robinson.
I think that's what makes him so tricky on a surface like this. One might spin and then it just goes straight on like that.
Here we go again. Another one that looked like it was straight. Masood has pulled it to the onside of straight but doesn't get a run for it.
So that's 6 men inside the ring again. Normally that'd have been probably just one straight down the ground. He's going back now. Just 2 balls left in the over. Try and stop that boundary if they can. Eke another over out of this game. Take it a little bit deeper.
And he comes again. Hit this one firmly, Shan Masood, to mid-off. There's a throw at the stumps, but doesn't hit. And they get through for another single. So there've been boundaries at times. David Milan, I think it's fair to say, has looked the most fluent so far, although Adam Lyth did get going before he got out. He finished with 30 in quicker time than Milan got his 29, so you can argue the opposite if you like. 74 for 2 with 1 left in the 13th. They're just bringing up long on inside the circle. They've got a square man on the offside as well as on the leg side and a cow corner. And James Wharton's played this one out to that square man on the offside who's round into the covers to field it. It's a loose throw, but it is eventually backed up. And they get 2. End of the 13th, and they made 4 off the over, 76 for 2.
Yeah, terrific placement there from Wharton. Man on the boundary, very much on point. Square onto the stumps, and he just played that off the back foot with a nice straight bat through more of a cover, extra cover. Beat the man that was in the ring, and it was an easy 2 there. Ran well between the wickets. I'm sure Yorkshire will just be looking for, you know, just looking for that one over. Those couple of balls that they can just put away, and that'll just, you know, make sure the game comes firmly back into their grasp. That's all it's going to take.
Callum Parkinson continuing. Masood steps back and looks as though he wanted to hit that harder than it actually went. So again, that's a suggestion of not quite reading the pace of the pitch there. Up to long on, 1 run. And they're giving themselves a bit of time, which they're entitled to do. They've got it. Parkinson round the wicket. Wharton pushing forward, back to the bowler, no run.
I think that's the thing, you know. The run rate's a bonus. They're just obviously thinking we get the 2 points here. It's a slightly tricky surface, and they've got the luxury of the time to do it.
31 needed off 34, so it is starting to just creep up, that run rate. Now needing 5.8 Sorry, 4.77. As he just played one back at a point there, James Wharton, and there's no run again. Callum Parkinson getting through the over. He's halfway through it already. Reverse sweep attempt this time by Wharton, and once more he can't make a good contact on it, and it's another dot. James Wharton on 7. Partnership for this third wicket so far worth 11. He's gone down the ground here, and he's going to get full value for that one into the base of the Howard stand for 6 runs.
Yeah, fantastic shot there from Warts. Just stood in the crease, waited for it. Was slightly over pitched, maybe a little bit slower from Parkinson, just enticing him to play that shot, but didn't quite get the spin out of the wicket that we've seen. And there was a terrific shot with long on up inside the circle. It was a nice safe shot and gone all the way for 6.
And he goes back to this latest delivery, which looked like it was fired in more quickly. End of the 14th, 83 for 2, just 25 now to win for Yorkshire. 7 off the over.
That's the luxury of chasing that low total, and there's no margin for error for the bowling team. You feel like, you know, you're on top in the over. There's just a single off the first ball, and then there's a couple of dots and a reverse sweep from Wharton there. He didn't quite get hold of it, and you're just thinking, well, maybe if we can have an over worth 2 runs, we'll eke another over out of the game. But that's it. It's just one shot away, 6, and there's 7 off the over. It's well over the asking rate. And that's all it takes, and you know, it makes the dugout, I'm sure, will be feeling fairly relaxed about it. But you know, it just takes any worry away that they might just be coming back into the game. Really nice play from Wharton.
83 for 2. Souter going to continue and bowl the final one of his 4. Masood turns that first one back at a square on the leg side for a single. Still, of course, of the power of Donovan Ferreira to follow.
Yeah, wickets in hand are always key in these low chases, as was said before.
Here comes James Wharton down the pitch, and that's going to be 6 over long on. Super shot, great use of feet, and a half dozen takes Yorkshire down below 20 needed to win.
Yeah, terrific shot, great use of the feet. He's noticed and learnt from the previous over that there's not been much spin from Souter, and he's just made sure he's come down the wicket, giving himself a bit of room on the leg side, and plonked that straight over the long on boundary for 6. Really nicely played.
Souter in again over the wicket. Wharton goes back foot, flicks that away into the leg side, no run. There was a time, wasn't there, when James Wharton was playing first team cricket, and it was all happening around him. It felt like he was struggling to get a bit of confidence, to get a foothold in the side. You know, you've been there yourself when it's difficult, when you're trying to show what you can do, but maybe things don't go your way. It might be a decision sometimes from an umpire. It might be your own indecision as a player, and you can't quite prove what you can do as he picks up a single there. But we saw the 100 in the T20 last year. We've seen another one now in Championship cricket, and it just feels like when he's out there in the middle, he knows much more about what he wants to do. He feels like he's part of it now. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I think that's just him working at his game over the winter and putting the effort in and putting the hard work in, you know, as all the lads do. But you know, it's full credit to him. He's worked at his game, worked at his skills, worked at his game plans, you know, and the more experience you get, and you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing if you come in and you don't do so well. You know, sometimes the Souter comes in and quick single there from Masood, just dabbed into point. Nicely played. Yeah, sometimes you can come in and you can do really well in this game, and then your expectation levels of yourself are very high, and then it doesn't always pan out like that, and then you can almost have a bit of a curve that goes straight up and then have a bit of a big low. But sometimes it's not always the worst thing, as stupid as it sounds, to not start off your career on like an absolute bullet train. You can just ease into the game. And
yeah, Souter's in again. That one turned around the corner off the pad, says Richard Kettleborough. So Yorkshire completing 15 overs with 10 from that one at 93 for 2. I'll come back to you for the remainder of your answer there, but 6,023 is the officially declared attendance here at Headingley this evening.
Yeah, and you know, classic example as well, and is arguably one of England's best now, Harry Brook, one of our own. Like, he he didn't burst onto the scene as you hear the phrase that's touted around. You know, it took him a while. He had some, obviously played some really good knocks, and you could see that he had the talent there and the skill level, but he didn't go straight to those heights and then drop off a cliff and come back down. You know, it was a fluid upward curve with a few peaks and troughs in there, but then, you know, when it clicked for him, he went massive.
Ben Dorcius, left arm over to come back into the attack then at the Howard stand end, and Wharton comes down the pitch to him and hits it to mid-on.
I think it's important that you have those senior players in and around the group, that especially as a team, when you've got a lot of youngsters as we have now, that they stand up and you know, myself included in that we stand up and support these guys, that if they're not always performing, we need to make sure that we're the ones that are standing up and producing for the team.
Dorcius in again, it's turned in front of square by Wharton, and they're going to come back for a second and comfortably win the race.
Yeah, good run in there. These two are very quick between the wickets. Masood very proactive with his running. Another lovely little 2 there. Takes the scoreboard down, getting ever closer to that final result.
Yeah, 13 to win. Let's hope it's not unlucky for James Wharton here, who's on strike facing Dorcius, who pushes it into the offside, and there's no run. Tough ask to win your last 4 matches, which Shan Masood thought was the case. Otis Gibson was more like 3 last week, especially when 3 of them come in the space of 4 days. Never easy at Old Trafford tomorrow night. Worcestershire away, well, you look at that and think bottom of the table, but you can't afford to go there as players, can you, and think, well, they're not playing very well, so we'll have them. You've got to do the job. Short ball. James Wharton, well, I think he's been watching a bit of the ladies' singles this afternoon at Wimbledon with that shot, although that wouldn't quite have made it over the net.
It wouldn't have done straight into the ground, wasn't it? No, I think you're right. I mean, 3 wins could be enough, but I think you're leaving that to chance with results hopefully going your way. You know, you win 4 games and you've got a really good chance. But yeah, every game's a final in that sense, and we have to keep turning up and adapting to each conditions.
Dorcius in, now he's got underneath this one. Wharton should be caught at mid-wicket, and is. Yeah, he walked into it slightly, didn't he? Which maybe then just rushed it onto him a little bit more, and he's got underneath it, and so he has gone after singing his praises for 22 off 26.
Yeah, it was nice bowling. It just looked like it maybe came out the surface a bit better than previous balls has. You know, good ball into the long side there, and I'm sure James Wharton was thinking, I can hit that for 6, where his confidence is at the minute, but wasn't to be. Left arm over was probably just a slightly trickier angle to play that shot, so full credit to the bowler. Got his rewards there. I thought he bowled well up top. Dorcius, apart from that 5 wides, utilising the swing early on, swinging it both ways. It looked like tricky for the 2 openers. Obviously the 5 wides very costly, and then I think the ball after that went for 4 to the boundary, so I'm sure you could see as he took his cap off back in the power play, he was very disappointed. But yeah, Yorkshire nearly home, and Ferreira in now. Hopefully he can finish this one off for Yorkshire and not leave it to anyone else.
Yep, well, he said to us last week, that's my job, I'm a finisher. He's only got to find 13 runs or some part of 13 runs here. He's not going to hang about by the looks of things, because he's just smashed his first ball for a 1 bounce 4, dropping just short of the boundary out there through extra cover.
Yeah, fantastic shot there by Donovan. Yeah, he won't be hanging around, that's just the way he plays, isn't it? And I'll leave you to finish the game off.
Yep,
Dougie.
Thanks very much, JT.
Thank you, guys.
Enjoy the golf tomorrow. Johnny Tattersall, much appreciated comments from him this evening. Thank you very much. And Graham Orange going to come in for what remains of this. 9 runs to win, and still 4 overs to get him in. So who knows, if Donovan's on strike, it might not last long. If Shan is, it might be a few singles.
Yes, I think Ferreira announced his intentions there, didn't he?
So Callum Parkinson coming back on with his left arm spin from the Kirkstall lane end, and Masood works that one on its way down to the incoming I think it's Michael Jones. It's so difficult with Durham having yellow on one side of the shirt and white numbers. If you don't see these players all the time, if it's the Yorkshire lads, I can pretty much recognise them from a distance now, even if they're in the far distance. But yeah, I think it's Michael Jones who just fielded that coming down in from the left-hand side.
What's Ferreira going to do here?
Eight to win. Parkinson to Ferreira. It's not going to take very long, Graham, because that's 6 over long on.
It is. Absolutely. I thought for a split second he could have been caught in the boundary there, but it's good to see, isn't it?
Well, he's not hanging about. Certainly, it's nowhere near as cleanly as he struck some of the shots he's played that we've seen him recently, but he did get under it slightly, but he's not messing about here. Let's just get this done.
And get the run rate up as well.
Yeah, it'll help.
Yeah.
They'll have, well, looking like 3 overs or so to spare. 106 for 3. He's already on 10. And Parkinson in, and that might be it. No, it won't. It's a great effort in the field, and that's been returned a bit as if it was like a parried back by a goalkeeper just on the boundary edge. It was a half attempted catch. Unfortunately, the fielder concerned has gone down with an injury. They've got back for 2, and they have won the match as a result. So that's the upshot. He's got back on his feet, so hopefully he is now okay. But he's certainly struggling at the hip, so hopefully he'll be all right. But Yorkshire are all right because the Vikings have won this match by 7 wickets.
Yeah, very comprehensive victory in the end. You suspected that could be the case when they bowled Durham out for 107. They've gone about the business very, very well. Lots of bowls to spare, and yeah, a 7-wicket victory. So as I say, very comprehensive. And Yorkshire move on now, and let's hope from Yorkshire's point of view that they can win their next 3 games. We said before the game started, that's a big ask in this type of cricket, because it just takes 1 over either way to, settle matters maybe, or put you behind. But at least they've done the job tonight. That's you take 1 game at a time, and they've done it, and they've done it in style.
Yeah, those who like these sorts of little things statistic-wise about sport, Durham were bowled out in 16.4 overs for 107. Yorkshire have made 108 for 3 in 16.4 overs to win the match. So a bit of symmetry about that. Shan Masood finished at 7, not out from 12 deliveries without a boundary. And Donovan Ferreira, well, he just thought, let's get on with it. And 12 off 4. So when we go back through the records, as we were talking about earlier with Johnny, the players all like to, tweak those and see where they're going. 12 runs doesn't look a lot, but the strike rate 300 there, a 6 and a 4 from his from 2 of his 4 deliveries, and they are well and truly across the line. Colin Ackerman 4 overs, no maidens, none for 24. Ben Dorcius 3 overs, no maidens, 1 for 22. Ben Rain, well, it wasn't his best night against Yorkshire, but he's had a few good ones in the past. 2 overs for 23. Nathan Souter finished with 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 16, and bowled well in spite of having a low total to try and defend. Baz Deleda 1 for 2 off his 1 over. Callum Parkinson finished with 2.4 overs, no maidens, none for 19, he said, writing it down simultaneously. 2 leg byes and 6 wides gave 8 extras, and so they're over the line, and that's the bottom line, I suppose. Let's just check in and see if Lancashire and Derbyshire have managed any play. No, match abandoned there without a ball being bowled. So they'll get a point apiece, which will take Lancashire to 14 ahead of tomorrow night's clash between the 2. Yorkshire on to 10. So it's still there for them as a possibility with 3 matches now remaining. And Derbyshire on to 11 points as a result of the 1 they'll get from that as well. So they'll stay ahead of Yorkshire with 3 matches remaining. Sorry, 3 matches remaining now, isn't it? Not 4.
Yeah.
It all gets a bit complicated for me.
Well, it's the permutations, aren't they? I mean, Yorkshire can't look at anything else. They've just got to try and win their last 3 matches. It's as simple as that. At least they know what they have to do. But for me, Jeffrey Chauhan was the Man of the match. His bowling, I thought, was quite exceptional, and certainly set Yorkshire up for a good win.
Yep. Do you want to bring you in back in for a minute? A quick word, Johnny, before we disappear. Seeing as you've hung around out the back of the box, we'll just bring JT for a quick word, folks. Jonathan Tattersall, who has been with us on and off throughout the evening. So as we're saying, job done. It's still 3 matches to win to probably ensure qualification, but even then you're not totally sure at this stage, and there'll be a very confident and happy dressing room down there now.
Yeah, I think it's obviously great putting in a performance like that. We know tomorrow night's going to be different again, I'm sure, but it gives us great confidence going into tomorrow's game. And hopefully we can do the double over Lancashire, and probably not many times that we've done that in a T20 season. So, I think if we can do that, we'll have a good chance of possibly getting through. If you can beat Lancashire twice, they're always right up there in the table, and it shows the quality that we do have in the side, and especially the way they've performed tonight. The pitch may have played a bit of a part in it, but again, you've got to do the business, and likewise was the same at Chesterfield on Sunday. The pitch was what it was, but we didn't perform and came out on the wrong end of that result. So yeah, good night tonight.
And tomorrow night, just looking briefly ahead to that, then, often dry, abrasive pitches, aren't they, at Old Trafford? We know that it suits spin over there as opposed to what we normally see here. So the fact that we saw Jaffa Charn back in the side tonight just to get some overs into his legs again was a plus. But to see him do what he's done, and then Don Bess and Dan Moriarty with him tomorrow night as well, with the possibility of always chucking the ball to Budge to Adam Lyth for an over or two if needed. They've got the sort of setup that may cause Lancashire a problem or two.
Yeah, I think as well, historically, looking at our side over the past years, I don't think we've probably ever really played 3 spinners, 3 out-and-out spinners. We've obviously had Joe Root for parts and Adam Lyth. He always harps on about his fifer that he took against Notts, but he's more of a part-time bowler, and he's not a specialist in that field of spin bowling. So and I think it's worked really well this campaign when we've had all 3 of those lads out on the park, and it worked really well tonight. And as you say, Old Trafford tends to be a place that suits, and historically they've always played lots of spinners in their team, likes of Matt Parkinson, who's obviously at Kent now, but obviously Tom Hartley, England international, and obviously Stephen Croft's bowled spin in the past, and Liam Livingston when he's played. So they've always packed their team out.
Luke Wells.
Yeah, exactly. The list sort of goes on for them, doesn't it? But they've found a way of playing at their ground and a method, and I fully expect the way our lads have been bowling that we can kind of match them in that department going in there tomorrow. So hopefully we can match them in the and up them in the seam department and the batting department, and in the field, and I'm sure it'll be another great game. They're always good games against Lancashire, and they're always normally quite tight and go down to the wire. We probably felt like we were comfortable victors in the end in this first game this season, but I think the final result was probably about 7, 8 runs, so it was still tight on the scores. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be another exciting game tomorrow.
Thanks for your input once again, JT, and once more we'll wish you best on the fairways and greens tomorrow. Okay, so we're just about done here. Thanks also to Graham Orange for his contributions tonight as well. So it's going to be James Carr and myself tomorrow at Old Trafford. We expect that to be a very tough game as ever, because winning there has proved difficult in recent years in T20 cricket, believe me, and just look at the results if you don't. So the benefit of tonight was that it's a confidence booster going over there. So Old Trafford tomorrow, Worcester on Sunday, and then back here at Headingley for the game against Notts next week. And let's hope that the Vikings are still in there pitching for a chance of getting into the quarter-finals when we come to that final match. But for tonight, Jaffa Chauhan, well, very much easily his career best figures. I'm going to go downstairs now and have a chat with him. 5 for 14. You'll be able to catch that interview on BBC Radio Leeds, and if you go to the at BBC WYS X account, all my cricket interviews with the Yorkshire lads and coaching staff and the Diamonds girls as well at the end of each match go up on there. So check that out tomorrow or later on this evening and you'll get it. But otherwise, from Graham, from JT and I, it's good night for tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow evening from Old Trafford. Just one point to mention, that you won't get this tomorrow with our commentary on, because it's a Sky match once again, so we're on the BBC Sport website and app, and if you want this commentary as opposed to the television commentary, then you're going to have to do a bit of that syncing yourself. Don't say you weren't warned. Good night from Headingley.